And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 17th round of the 9th season of the Bandit Racing League. And, well, it's not just any race, it is a playoff race. The second of the playoffs this week at Dover International Speedway. The second straight, very, very fun but very tricky oval we've gone to here in these Bandit Racing League playoffs. And, well, these sorts of tracks definitely separate the best of the best from the, well, best of the rest. And, well, tonight is the Mission for Nutrition 100, another great sponsor that we'll talk about in tonight's event in just a brief moment. But very quickly, I'm so happy to have him back, so we'll put him up right here at the very beginning. He returns. It was unfortunate not having him last week, especially with the kind of race we had. But he's back. Mr. Evan Wall's back in the broadcast booth. And Evan, I know you were watching virtually there last week from the YouTube live audience. So first of all, let's talk a little bit about what you saw, how you thought the first race went, and what you're expecting this week. Second race, second of the playoffs at Dover.
Well, last week wasn't exactly what everybody expected. I thought it was a good time. I had fun switching between watching that and watching Mr. Brandon Jackson's Twitch channel. I love switching between the two. It was really fun to watch. Both sides, very, very different perspectives, but fun nevertheless from both of them. But I think this week is going to be a lot of fun. I know both Ricky Hart Jr. and Brandon Jackson have talked a lot about how much they love this track, so I'm going to be watching for those two guys to be up front. They think it's a great racetrack that provides some great racing. I guess we'll have to see. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully we'll be fairly caution-free, but you know what? Guess who's top 1 and 2 in practice right now, guys? You may have seen it scroll across the top. Top 1, first place, Nick Nickerson, just took the position away from Cody Welch. It was Cody Welch, Nick Nickerson. Now it's Nick Nickerson, Cody Welch, but 1-2 right now.
And that has really been the storyline all year, hasn't it, Evan? Like, we cannot beat this to death enough. Just Cody Welch, the season he has had, one of the best seasons I've seen over a sustained period of time in any iRacing series. The guy every week comes out, gets podiums, gets top 5s, gets top 2s, finishes runner-up so often. Another great drive last week, another late race charge that came up a couple laps short. You gotta think it's gonna happen one of these weeks, and I think tonight, you can't really count Nick out, but he has been kind of downplaying how well he would do this week at Dover, so maybe finally the opportunity for Cody to get that chance in a race where maybe he's got some new faces near him. It seems like he hasn't quite been able to figure out why Nick is always the guy he's looking at the end of the race, but Brandon and Ricky's raced pretty well in the past, so we shall see. I'm excited, Evan.
I'm excited too. Yeah, you definitely can't count Nick out, but there he is sitting at the top of the practice charts, even though he said he didn't like the track. So we'll just have to see how it goes tonight.
What a guy. Nick is just one of those types. It always seems like it's some smoke in front of that situation with Nick all the time. So we'll see what happens tonight. But before we get too far, we're going to talk about last week's races we often do and recap your first race of the playoffs. But first, we want to talk about your sponsor, and we're going to get a bit of a special guest here in a moment to talk about that for you. But tonight's race is the Mission for Nutrition, the 4 being a literal 4. Mission for Nutrition, the 100 here at Dover International Speedway. And Mission for Nutrition is another really great cause. We've had some really great causes this season, and well, tonight is yet another. Mission for Nutrition, for those of you that don't know, is it's a food bank in Pennsylvania, in the greater Pennsylvania area, but it's almost a little bit more than that. And I don't want to go too into detail because we're going to have somebody in just a moment who knows more about it than I and is a little bit more connected to it. But such a great cause, and as always, there's a special place in my heart for things like food banks and very fundamental services that are very important to people, but especially around this time with the holidays and things like that. Now is the most important time of year to give somebody a good meal, and they do more than that. They have community services, they have all sorts of activities and events and stuff that's really designed around teaching people, once they are provided with healthy food options, and the food provided by Mission for Nutrition is very healthy. That's first and foremost one of the things they focus on. But it's also teaching people, okay, how do you take that and run with it? How do you make yourself these good meals that can really shape your life going forward and really help you out there. So they provide people the opportunity not only to have a good meal, but to learn how to do it themselves in the future. And I really pride them on that, and I think it's a great cause, and I'm so happy to be representing them today on behalf of the Full Send Racing Network and the Bandit Racing League. But well, now we're going to bring in somebody to the broadcast booth here, somebody who, like I said, knows a little bit more about them than I do. Just 2 seconds here, and we'll get a chat with the driver of the number 87 truck, Daniel Stein, somebody that I don't think we've ever had in the broadcast here, but yeah, this is actually the second time that we've partnered with Mission for Nutrition. I know back in the day, back when it was Evan Wall Media broadcasting these races, we had them as a sponsor for I believe it was a Talladega race. I'm trying to think. I think that was Alan Castle's win at Talladega last year. So actually a good race that I've actually gone back and watched before. So they got a good race there in the past, and I certainly hope they get another one tonight here at Dover. But here we go. Finally got him up on screen. We're ready to talk to him. So let's see what the driver of the number 87, Daniel Stein, is doing. He is on track, so hopefully don't distract the guy too much. But here he is. Let's pull him in the broadcast booth and get a couple words with him. Just waiting just a moment here. Almost got him. Oh, hey, Daniel, it's Marshall up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
How you doing, sir?
I am doing quite well, Daniel. It's a pleasure to talk to you. And, well, tonight, on behalf of the race sponsor, you are tonight's race sponsor for the Mission for Nutrition 100 here at Dover. So, first of all, I know you're out there on track right now, so I wish you the best of luck. We got you up on the cam. But just want to say a few words, maybe talk a little bit about Mission for Nutrition and what they do.
Yeah, let me pull over here my notes so I don't forget anything. Mission for Nutrition is a nonprofit organization based out of the southwestern part of Pennsylvania. It was founded back in 2017. They focus basically on diversity. They aid families with low income. They always promote healthy eating, always physical activities and stuff like that. Things they do for the community, they do community drops to families with low income, so they bring food or any type of supplies that we'll need. With the winter months coming up, they just got done doing a coat drive where people donate their old coats, their old sweatpants, all their old winter gear. They do fitness challenges on social media. I'm sure you have all the links everywhere for that. Another thing that they do is they promote healthy eating habits, and they try to do cheap alternative options instead of the expensive stuff. They're always looking for family sponsors, so if anybody out there is interested in sponsoring a family, please go to the Mission for Nutrition website. It's a great organization. I actually work for an organization part-time as their graphic designer / social media. So if anybody has any questions, please direct them to me. And I am grateful to be sponsoring, or Mission for Nutrition is grateful to be sponsoring this great event. And just wanted to thank you, Marshall, for everything you do.
Thank you so much, Daniel. Yeah, it's a pleasure to, again, have another great cause to represent here on the broadcast tonight. And hopefully Dover can produce a great race for you. And very quickly, you're heading back out there. Just very quickly before you go, well, we got you here. Tonight's race at Dover. It's the one you sponsored, and are you particularly tied to the track? You think tonight could be a good night for the 87?
Well, first off, I just want the best finish I can get for this Mission for Nutrition sponsored truck. I grew up about 2 hours away from Dover. Every fall, me and my father would go to Dover and see the playoff race, the chase race here. Every year we would go. So definitely a personal connection to the track here. I hope it's not a wreck fest. I mean, these are some high-speed banks, tight corners, so my main goal is to just keep it clean and hopefully be there at the end.
All right, that's all you can hope for tonight, and certainly I think if you can stay on track, you got a great chance. Thank you, Daniel, for taking the time. Thanks for telling us more about the sponsor, and best of luck, man.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
There you go. That was the driver of the number 87 truck, tonight's race sponsor, Daniel Stein. Great to talk to him, and again, another great cause tonight. You got all the information you need from him there, but if you want a little bit more information, maybe in writing, and that way it's easier to remember, head down to the link in the description here on the YouTube side of things. We, as always, are going to post the full information, all the links you need, so that's down in the description, including some stuff for some other things involved in the series, whether it's Evan Wall Media, Evan's very own, YouTube presence on his side of things, and sorry, just a second, just getting something fixed, but yeah, whether it's Evan's internet presence, whether it's the Bandit Racing League merch, which we'll talk about in a moment, that's where all the links are. So as always, go down there and check, and that's where you'll get all your important info. So yeah, very quickly before we go into tonight's race recap, just Evan, I think with the first round of the playoffs being out of the way, we'll put the playoff bracket up here, but I just want to get your take on it with those that are in the playoffs right now: Nickerson, Welch, Jackson, Guzik, Hart, Ramos, Foster, Sawyer. Is there anything that stood out to you, particularly watching last week's race, that you think might get switched tonight, something that you don't think is going to last?
These are going to last too long, except for Cody Welch up at the top, Brandon Jackson, Brett Guzik, Ricky Hart Jr. I have a feeling those guys are going to stay at the top, but everything else is going to get switched around so much. I mean, these guys only have one race under their belt. There's plenty of time left to go before we get into the next round. And you never know who's going to come in and win. We could have somebody that's down at the bottom right now. If they have a good race tonight, they could jump up. If they win, they could jump up even further. So you really never know what's going to happen, especially when you only have the points from one race. So all of this, it could be switching around, or it could stay the same. Like I said, one race under the belt, you never know what's going to happen, except for Nick Nickerson and Cody Welch probably are going to stay up at the top.
They're always going to be there. They're always going to be a threat. And as you mentioned before, Evan, they are, as we come to the end of practice here, they are at the top of the board. So before we get into qualifying, which we will in just a moment, first we're going to go to your race recap. I'll tell you guys a little bit about last week's very hectic but very fun race at New Hampshire. So here we go for the race recap for the Military Appreciation 100. And the race recap, like many other aspects of the series, is presented by Perfect Shine Auto Spa. And in the Military Appreciation 100 at New Hampshire, well, the pole sitter was somebody that, I'm sure was happy to find himself at the top of that qualifying leaderboard. Cody Welch took the field to the green here at New Hampshire alongside Brett Guzik, Nick Nickerson in row 2. Ricky Hart qualified well, but that did not last long for Ricky. You see here heading down to turn 1, gets absolutely run through by Curtis Yancey in the attempt to avoid a bit of a collision there between Nick Nickerson and Brett Guzik. We talked about it at the time, but kind of an out of character mistake there from both drivers, kind of getting together that you don't often see between two veterans of the series. Here's another wreck just a moment later. The 32 truck finds himself on the top of the wall. Forget who the 32 truck is, but here you see just a moment later, Brandon Jackson diving under Nick Nickerson here about halfway through the race. It was a lot of domination from Nick early, but Brandon Jackson would take over the lead. Same with Ashley Molyneux. She was great early, but Brandon would get the better of that battle. Jackson winning out in the end. So proving that maybe Nick didn't have the dominant speed we would expect, but after Benjamin Lacey led on strategy for a while, this would possibly be the critical mistake that lost Cody his first race. He dives there into the pit lane there to try to avoid potentially Nick and try to switch strategies on him. Did not prove to be the best one in the end, but you see here, he fought back from about 14th in the field with about 5 laps to go, fought all the way back on new tires at Phoenix, but in the end, his charge came just short. You see him in the background there, but it was Nick winning a very chaotic, very caution-filled race at New Hampshire to punch his ticket to the round of 8 and his very first attempt and his first opportunity at doing so. It was a great drive from him. Again, I had to undersell there just how much fun battling there was, but there were a lot of cautions. And Ashley Molyneux, yet again, had a great run for herself. And she's somebody I think we'll see up towards the top of the leaderboard here sooner rather than later. But here as we come back after the race recap, we'll put up your once again your playoff bracket in just a moment. But here live is Daniel Stein going for a bit of a joyride there in the 87 truck. So let's get you your live results here in qualifying. We're about just over about 2 minutes in. Benny Hogan, I believe. Well, our graphics are kind of stalling out there on the left side. I know sometimes in qualifying they can get a little bit confused, so maybe we'll just do a quick reset on those. But there is the new 88 truck of Benny Hogan running that. I think it's a Haas livery, something a little bit different, but Benny's somebody in the past we've seen is pretty quick at short tracks, and I'd say, Evan, he might be a dark horse contender to go for the win tonight.
Yeah, running a Craftsman truck in the 88, actually. He's definitely a guy, like you said, good at short tracks, and he's definitely one of those dark horse drivers. He's up at the top of the board right now, second to Cale Zook, actually. But yeah, up at the top of the board, and I have a feeling that he'll be at the top of the board throughout the day here at Dover.
Now to the top of the qualifying leaderboard goes Cale Zook, that 22.87. Holy cow, what a lap there from the driver of the number 44. That is a genuinely great lap time there we've seen from him. So good on Cale Zook. Yeah, we're now 2.5 minutes in, so we're halfway through qualifying. Cale Zook going to go to the top of the leaderboard. So it's Zook, Hogan, Ferrara, Hart, Lacey. Now Sean Britt there in the 98 running the, I believe, the all white and black number 98 entry there. As he comes through turn number 2, we'll just maybe ride around here with a lap at Dover International Speedway, just so you know what to expect here tonight at the Monster Mile, as they call it. And it is an all-concrete oval. I don't mean to give too much away before we go into the track preview in a little bit, but it is a tough one, Evan. I mean, we've seen in the past in the real-life NASCAR series, and certainly in my experience running here at Dover, this track is a monster on tires. And the way the corners are banked here, especially this turn 2 here up into that outside wall, it is unforgiving. You were on your toes all the way through the lap.
Yeah, it's a really fun track to race and a really fun track to drive. And you know, there's a reason that on the wall it says who can tame Dover. You know, it is a difficult track to drive, but a really fun track to drive. So I think we're in store for a lot of fun here tonight.
Oh, not tonight's race sponsor. Let me just take that off his graphic, but the not race sponsor tonight, Mr. Cody Welch, the Flushing, Michigan native, up to second on the leaderboard here. I don't know why his number font has mysteriously disappeared, but he is still the 85 there on the top left, and he will tie his first lap time, so no improvement there for the 85. Still Killzook is your qualifying leader tonight, but Cody Welch and that number 85 truck. Oh, it shows up on the on his graphic. I don't know why it's not in the timing tower, but for whatever reason, the 85 truck is gold on the leaderboard. But he's gold, and really this entire season in general, what a year it's been for Cody Welch. And again, we ask every week, but is tonight the night that the 85 truck finally climbs the mountain and makes his way to the top of the leaderboard? There is Kevin Foster, a fellow playoff driver, as indicated there by the letter P. So just so you guys know, the P stands for playoff, so all the playoff drivers, in addition to having green striping on their back bumper and they're above their windshield and on the front splitter, they also have a P on the timing tower, so just to make it easier for you guys. But here we go, Kevin Foster going out for, I believe, his first of 2 attempts here in qualifying. He's coming to the end of qualifying, actually, so might only get 1 attempt. Actually, if this lap isn't a valid time, might not get one at all. Or maybe he's already got his time. He's just doing some practice laps there, and the 8 truck will finish 800ths back of your pole time. So very quickly before we go to your leaderboard for tonight's race, let's just once again pull up your playoff bracket and see what we're working with heading into tonight's race at Dover after New Hampshire. So there you go. You see, once again, there are your 8 drivers here of the 19 driver playoff grid that are currently punched into the playoffs. So it's Nickerson, Welch, Jackson, Guzik, Hart, Ramos, Foster, and Sawyer are the drivers who would currently move on to the round of 8. Nick Nickerson is the only one that has officially locked his way in with a win last week at New Hampshire, but everybody else there in points is doing quite well. So as you see, Cody Welch there, 14 points above the cutoff, which certainly is not a comfortable amount. I'd say that can go away pretty quick, but certainly, you know, it's Cody Welch. He's going to be doing everything he can tonight to try to make his way into the round of 8 and do it as quick as he possibly can. We are about ready to go tonight with your qualifying results, so we're going to head right there. But there you go. There are your results heading into tonight. There are the guys at the bottom who could really use some good races tonight, and there's the guys at the top that are just looking to conserve points. But here we go. Tonight's results here in qualifying for the Mission for Nutrition 100 at Dover International Speedway, the second round of the Bandit Racing League Season 9 playoffs. And your pole sitter tonight for the first time, I believe, in the Bandit Racing League, Cale Zook. Congratulations to the driver of the number 44. He finds himself on the pole position. To his outside, the man himself, Cody Welch, playoff extraordinaire, guy who was runner-up last season in the championship, and since the end of last season has yet to pick up a win despite so many close runner-up finishes. Could tonight be the night? On the inside of row 2, Benny Hogan in the 88 truck running that new Craftsman truck scheme, alongside Christopher Ferrara, fellow playoff driver. Ricky Hart as well in the 5th spot, battling for his way into the round of 8. He felt really good coming into tonight's race at Dover. Sean Britt to his outside starts in 6th. Great performance for him in qualifying. Kevin Foster and Benjamin Lacey, 2 longtime veterans of the series, starting on row number 4, both playoff eligible. Brett Guzik is in the 9th spot, kind of far down for him for qualifying, but Brett Guzik, always a driver that can make his way through the field, certainly at ovals like this one. And Ashley Molyneux, a driver who's got 2 career wins in the Bandit Racing League and plenty of good performances under her belt, comes home in 10th.
Right outside of the top 5 is going to be Gary D. Moore Jr., the 89 truck, going to be in 11th position. A great run from him. 12th is going to be Jason Greenwell in the 83, followed by Nick Nickerson. The 2 truck is all the way back in 13th position. I can't remember another time that he's started this far back. 14th, another great driver, Brandon Jackson, the 99 truck, the one that loves Dover so much, has a lot of confidence coming into tonight. Behind him in 15th is the 15 of Christopher Hamilton, followed by Bill Harkins in 16th. Curtis Yancey, the 51, in 17th. Ramos in 18th. Eddie Haggy in 19th. And Mason Flagar in 72 truck to round off your top 20.
After that, in the 21st spot, it is Gary Wright. Tony Hilbrands alongside him in the 22. He is a playoff driver. I'm sorry that he does not have the P next to his name. Jackson Knock ahead of Andrew and Connor Zook, the double Zook tandem after that. Then we got Nolan Gross, Matt Crockett in 26, 27. 28th is Victor Weaver. Only a couple more spots to move down, almost at the end of the field. So to round off your grid tonight, it'll be the 84 of David Lakey. The 30 spot goes to Mark Allen Bibbins, another playoff driver in the 76. Another playoff driver, Trey Ellis, followed by Hunter Henry. And tonight's sponsor, Daniel Stein, rounds off tonight's grid ahead of Anthony Caetano, John Graham, Steve Ulrich, Peter Murphy, Connor Sawyer, and Jason Romey. We are getting ready to go. Down goes your playoff grid. Here we go. The lights about to go green, and they do. The green flag is out for tonight's race. The Mission for Nutrition 100 at Dover International Speedway. Welch gets right to the pole, jumps ahead of Cale Zook, tonight's pole sitter, and the 85 truck is off.
Yeah, huge jump there for Cody Welch. I don't know if maybe beat him to the line or just got off really quickly. Cale Zook may have spun the tires a little bit, but hanging on in second position. And not only hanging on, he's catching up to Cody Welch a little bit. Welch pulled away at first, but Zook isn't letting him get too far. They're battling behind them, the 88. And they're wrecking in turn 4. Caution is going to be out.
Whoa, a number of drivers involved in that one. We see Gary D. Moore Jr., Tony Hilbrands as well. Tony Hilbrands does have the peak, it just doesn't fit on the graphic, but Hilbrands you see gone around. Daniel Stein, tonight's race sponsor, just sneaking by there in the background. Mark Allen Bivens has damage. Jackson Knock involved in that one, so big wreck here early at Dover. Only got around that one lap, and yeah, the Monster Mile chews trucks up and spits him out, and I think certainly once guys get in a groove, it's going to be a little bit easier than last week, but here early, already a little bit of chaos here at Dover.
Yeah, it's going to take guys getting into a groove, but the thing is, it's going to take a couple laps for these guys to get into a groove. Like we said, I feel like once we really get going here, there's going to be some good racing. We just have to get over these little cautions. Hopefully this will be one of the only ones we have tonight.
Going to your full send racing replay presented by Perfect Shine Auto Spa. Here is that wreck out of turn 4, and yeah, Tony Hilbrand's involved. That was Andrew Zook. That was Gary Moore Jr. there involved in the background. Say Gary Wright sneaking by, Jackson Knock caught in it, and Daniel Stein just sneaking his way by, trying to really get a better sense of what went wrong there off of turn 4. So that's Hilbrand's below Harkins. So that started up ahead. I think Gary D. Moore Jr. was involved in the forefront of that, so we're going to go to his perspective there in the number 89 truck. Actually, a really nice looking livery, but unfortunately it is all scuffed up now. So here we go, coming out of turn number 4, through 3 and 4 here at Dover. On the bottom side there is Christopher Hamilton. On the top is Gary Moore. Nick kind of bobbled, actually. You saw the 2 truck got a little bit loose. Jackson prominently involved in that there. I think Gary Moore just kind of overcorrected there in response, and that's what set him around. I don't know about you, Evan, but that's the way I saw that.
Yeah, it looks to me like Nick got a little bit squirrely, and then a couple of the drivers behind maybe got a little bit worried there, and it ended up losing it. They thought they were about to have to avoid an accident there. Or no, I believe they just both got squirrely at the same time. And yeah, first time I watched this, I thought Brandon Jackson got through it. No, not at all. A good bit of damage there for the 99 truck, but able to keep it going fairly well.
Well, meanwhile, the drivers that were involved in that wreck only now just exiting the pits. So Gary Moore back on track, Jackson Knock, Tony Hilbrand's coming out. And yeah, ahead of them, we got, I think, a couple more drivers still on pit road. Yeah, so Mark Allen Bivens was involved in the wreck. Same with Brandon Jackson. Matt Crockett as well. You see some front right damage on the number 10 truck. So Bivens leaving the pits. Still now Jackson leaves the pits after a brief moment there. So early chaos here at Dover, Evan. And again, we were kind of forecasting that might be the case for a little bit. Definitely one of those tracks that is very different to run solo than it is in the race. So guys will just need to get a few laps under their belt, get used to it a little bit more, and then I have the feeling we'll be right up to speed. But well, here for the moment here before we go to your next green flag restart, which should be in just a lap's time as the lights on the pace truck are still on, we're going to go to your track preview. And often, Evan, you were the one to do that, and we're lucky enough to have you back this week. So we'll throw it to you here for tonight's track preview for Dover International Speedway.
And that sounds great. As mentioned, we are at Dover International Speedway, also known as the Monster Mile. The famous, you may know their mascot, Miles the Monster, and the saying, "Who can tame Miles the Monster?" This place opened up in 1969, and it's fairly different from a lot of tracks in that it is a concrete speedway. It is exactly 1 mile long, and we're running 100 laps, so thankfully I'm so good at math that I can do the math. That is 100 miles that we'll be running here tonight. The banking is 24 degrees. It's banked 24 degrees in the turns, 9 degrees on the straightaway. So even when you're on the straightaway, you're still banked a fairly good bit. When you're in the turns, you're really banked a lot. It's a mile-long track, but it's really short. It goes by really quickly. The banking means that you can keep the speed up a whole lot. The quickest time on iRacing in these trucks was in 2019. It was a 28.758. That was the quickest time, according to Dan Leese, at 125 miles an hour. And next week, we'll be heading to Watkins Glen. I wonder who the favorite for that race is going to be.
Yeah, certainly not a ton of mystery when it comes to who is good in this series at the road courses. We've seen in the past just how dominant Nick can be, and I'd certainly imagine that if there's any race on the calendar that Nick has crossed off as the one he's most excited for, that is probably the one. So, well, there you go. There's the schedule for the rest of the playoffs. You see there next week, Watkins Glen. The week after, Pocono for the final round of the first round of this season's playoffs, followed by Eldora, Darlington, and Myrtle Beach. Then Talladega and Charlotte. to round off your schedule. So thank you, Evan, and I appreciate the quality math abilities there to get us all calculated out. Always appreciate that. Just want to quickly mention as well, we had some issues last week in terms of technology and things of that sort. So hopefully the mics sound way better tonight. Hopefully everything's working a lot better. We are having, I think, at least on the broadcast side, some frame rate issues, and I can promise you that is not down to tech or anything over here. For some reason, Dover is just kind of a frame rate monster here, in the same way it is a monster on tires. So hopefully that doesn't sustain itself through. It doesn't look too bad, but yeah, feel free to leave in the chat what you're experiencing there in terms of tech. But here we go. First restart of the night. Cody Welch, your leader, and another great restart taking off the 85 truck. Already about half a second clear down to turn number 1.
Yeah, really good restart from the 85. Just out in front of everybody, in trouble from the 99 and Brandon Jackson. I believe he's a little bit slow to get going. It doesn't look like he has the speed that some of these other guys do. But battling for second position right now, the 88 of Benny Hogan is on the outside of Cale Zook. Is that Cale Zook or is that Ricky Hart Jr.? I can't tell who that is. Ricky Hart Jr. down on the inside, working on the 88 of Benny Hogan. Looks like he's going to make the pass for second position.
He will indeed. Ricky Hart Jr. making his way through, scooting by the number 88 truck. So two playoff drivers now in the top 2. Remember how much Ricky said he was good at Dover. It's something he's been talking about all week. But still, Benny Hogan, Cale Zook holding the road. Now I think Zook's going to jump to the high side. The 44 truck, speaking of math, double the 88 truck in terms of, or half the 88 truck in terms of number, but trying to prove he is not half in terms of speed. Nice little battle there. Brett Guzik behind in 5th. Ashley Molyneux currently has moved up 4 spots, the same as Brett Guzik. Now she's to the inside, could make it 5. She will get down below the 45 truck. Not quite sure as to how confident she is here at Dover. I know she's talked about in the past a couple tracks, including New Hampshire, she's quite good at, but let's see what she can do tonight here. She's moving up past Benny Hogan as well. Now going for the move on him, so she's up to 4th, slicing and dicing her way through. Now going to track down Cale Zook just a couple car lengths ahead.
Yeah, there you see the battle right there. The 88 still stuck on the outside, and that's one of the things about tracks like this, short tracks like this, is that the inside lane is really the preferred groove. So there now you can see the 88 is going to be able to slot himself back down into that inside lane. But if you really get somebody to get your nose under you and you get stuck up there on the outside lane, there's not a whole lot that you can do about it. You're really just going to be stuck under there, and as long as people get that preferred lane inside of you, you're just kind of going to be freight trained there on the inside. That's a little bit what we saw happening with the 88 of Benny Hogan, but thankfully for him, he didn't fall too far back.
Can you go to a bit of a wider camera here just so you get the big idea of, first of all, how much of a coliseum this Dover track is. Surely these textures and all the people we got to put in the background are not going to help the frame rates here on the broadcast, but you see there, otherwise, looking in the background, I think Christopher Ferrara is having a good little scrap with somebody. I think that's Benjamin Lacey here. There's the driver of the number 13, the playoff driver himself, sitting right in front of Benjamin Lacey, who's sitting right in front of Nick Nickerson. And I'm noticing currently, Evan, that every lap I watch Nick Nickerson drive around, we're going to go on the behind perspective of the number 2 truck just to get a better idea of how he's running, but he is slip sliding all over the shop. Appears to be having trouble keeping that truck on, under grip and right there on the bottom of the corner. So, yeah, maybe we finally found the track Nick's struggling at, but I certainly don't want to jinx it this early in the race.
Yeah, maybe so. You never know, though. He's running in 10th position right now, and we've seen Nickerson plenty of times. He'll run in the back. He'll make us think it's somebody else's race to lose, and then here he comes at the end, stealing the victory away. So we've got a long time to go, but it's definitely looking like he's having a little bit tougher time handling this than most tracks that he runs at. Cody Welch out front doing a great job, and who else is doing a great job? Ricky Hart Jr. He said he liked this track. He really petitioned to have this track put on the schedule, and here he is showing why he likes it so much. He's running down Cody Welch up at the front. I have a feeling in a couple of laps he'll be trying to make a pass for the lead.
Yeah, I think you're certainly right here. You see now the 64 looking at his perspective on Skype here with the full VR headset here. We're actually going to go on board here with Cody Welch, Ricky Hart, I should say, just so we see what he's looking at. So there you go, the perspective from the 64 truck. That's what he's seeing in his headset right now. And here we go. There is a lap truck there up front. Might even be Brandon Jackson here, who's significantly off the pace. I think it is. So that damage we saw Evan in that last wreck maybe costing him here. Here goes Ricky, going to go around the outside with Cody. So right up to the back bumper of the number 85. And, the flat-out talent of Cody Welch, the flat-out pace in qualifying might be kind of meshing here with Ricky's speed at Dover. And these two guys are about a full second clear of Cale Zook. So we might have found the two guys who are going to be the class of the field all night.
Yeah, and right now Brandon Jackson just has to be hoping for a caution. I'm sure he didn't know that he had as much damage as he did I'm sure if he knew that his truck was going to be that underpowered, he would have come into the pits, got it fixed up, but there he is. He got started, obviously didn't know that he had that much damage. Now, as you can see, much slower than the rest of the field, and that is really gonna hurt him. Hopefully no one else goes a lap down, and if so, he'll be able to get the lucky dog, get his lap back.
Yeah, I know you see getting passed by Nick Nickerson, a fellow playoff competitor, and you know, Evan, I think it always sucks to lose this many spots in any race. Doesn't matter the context, but certainly you got to think in a playoff race here. I know he's already lapped down. He's lost most of the spots he's going to lose in this stint, but yeah, every spot you lose here in the playoffs, that's one valuable point. And seeing how close that playoff bracket was coming in tonight, each spot is going to count in this series this season.
Yeah, that's for sure. The playoffs are going to be really close. We only have a couple of races here, and since the points do reset every time, it's a great thing for our entertainment, but it does make it harder for these drivers, especially if you don't have that built up safety net, really. We saw last season, Nick Nickerson, he came into the playoffs, but he had such a built-up safety net that he really didn't have to worry as much as he does this year. Obviously, he's already locked himself in with a win this time out this season, but he doesn't have that safety net to fall back on. Cody Welch, he worked so hard to get all those points in the regular season, but he doesn't have that safety net now. He has to still work just as hard as any of these other guys. It gives a new shot to everyone when the points level out, and obviously you can see the drivers that rose to the top last week, and they're already doing great right here. Cody Welch, Ricky Hart Jr., Brett Guzik even right now sitting in 5th position.
Yeah, speaking of Brett Guzik, he's going to get the move made on Kill Zook with thanks to Ashley Molyneux, who made a nice little move there off of turn number 4. Actually almost pinched the 44 truck into the wall there, you saw when she was trying to get by, so does get the move done, but that could have gone much worse. Actually impressed here, Evan, with the green flag stint we're seeing. I think it's been about 15 laps now since that last caution, and certainly here early in the race at Dover, I think guys finally starting to figure the track out a little bit. I don't mean to jinx it, but we might get some real fun green flag racing here. Not only that battle for the lead that continues to kind of sit dormant for the moment, but we'll keep you updated. But this battle here for 3rd, Brett Guzik, a guy that honestly I wouldn't have thought particularly Dover would be kind of his go-to with my understanding of his skill set. I mean, I'd imagine he'd be quick, but certainly the way he's been this quick, keeping up with Ashley Molyneux, an impressive drive in his 2nd appearance in the playoffs here from Brett.
Yeah, Brett's always a fast driver, especially on the short tracks like this. And like you said, though, it's not surprising to see him fast, but I didn't necessarily expect it. Here he is really battling for 4th position. But the thing is, Brett puts in a lot of practice time, and really, these guys have shown time and time again, if you sit down, you put in the time to practice, you can come out here and you can run really well. Practice just helps so much, and the proof is right here with Brett Guzik right now running in 4th position, on top of the fact that he's just a really great driver.
Yeah, he's a stellar talent. I had the pleasure of racing against him in kind of our casual fun series we did last year between seasons, and yeah, he certainly gave me a run for my money there. It was not easy by any means. I think he won. He won the championship certainly in that series. Don't remember how many races he won, but speaking of winning championships, the all-time Bandit Racing League championships leader, with that being 2 for Kevin Foster here, the Houston, Texas native. He is proving why he had those championships. He is staying right locked in behind a number of playoff drivers, including his own teammate at GFR Racing, Nick Nickerson, Curtis Yancey. You see Nick is kind of popping in and out, wondering if he's having the same internet issues that I think everybody seems to be. The servers these last couple weeks have been a little bit slow. You see the occasional pop in and out, and I promise you that is just a server thing. I'm not having any frame rate issues anywhere else, so kind of a weird situation here. But up in front, Benjamin Lacey here trying to make the move on Kill Zook, and I think he's going to in just a moment. So Benjamin Lacey, the guy that I think is probably the most underrated driver in last season's Final Four, kind of just snuck in under the radar, but then he snuck his way to a win this season at Atlanta and punched his ticket to the playoffs. Now driving that number 7 truck, that number 7 FedEx entry, getting the move done on the underside of Kill Zook. So after some really successful qualifying, put himself in the pole position. Now that 44 truck, you can see kind of running out of speed. I wonder if it's just a case of tire conservation. Maybe some of these more experienced guys here in the playoffs just knowing better how to conserve that rubber.
Yeah, conserving the rubber is definitely going to be an important thing here. You talked about it a little before we did our track preview, that this place can eat up tires, and that's definitely going to be something that we watch, whether it's drivers hanging back to save tires or it's drivers that run up front and then they hang back a little bit towards the end of their pit run. So that's going to have to be something that we're going to keep an eye on, as we're already lap 30 of 100 down. we're getting through this race quick. It's a fast racetrack, and we are getting through it very quickly. 85 of Cody Welch still out front. Top 3 are playoff drivers. Ashley Molyneux and Benny Hogan crashed the party in 4th and 5th, the non-playoff drivers in the top 5.
Yeah, 3 drivers here in the top 3 who were already doing very well for themselves in the points. Remember, Cody Welch, I think, was actually the points leader technically in the playoffs coming into tonight because he got more bonus points last week than Nick did, race winner. So he is looking good. Ricky was looking good. Brett is as well. I'm just trying to think back. Maybe going to put up the playoff bracket here for myself just to remember, who is in what situation coming into tonight, because that's really an important thing to remember. A couple drivers here that were kind of struggling heading into tonight on points. Guys like Curtis Yancey, Benjamin Lacey, Christopher Ferrara, Trey Ellis, you see here. Cody Welch having a little bit of lap traffic to get by, and that might give Ricky Hart a couple tenths trying to make his way up towards the 85. But yeah, guys like Benjamin Lacey tonight could use a huge night. Whoa, Ricky Hart having to just dive out of the way. Well, I think that was Ricky Hart. Had to dive out of the way of somebody there. Ashley Molyneux, I think, is trying to make her way up towards Ricky Hart Jr., and maybe we can do a lap time comparison because she is getting there in a hurry. Let's put up here the lap times of these 2 drivers here in the last couple laps. So Ashley Molyneux a full 1.2 seconds quicker that time. Ricky had something go wrong that lap, and just like that, he's got somebody you do not want to see behind you here sitting right on his back bumper.
Yeah, this is going to be a really fun battle right here. But you know what? There's really fun battles all the way across the track. But yeah, Ricky Hart Jr. falling back a little bit. But let's look at who is currently leading our race, Brett Guzik. That is really the interesting thing to watch right now. The 04 out front has taken the lead away from Cody Welch, and it looks like he's starting to pull away.
Yeah, I feel like an idiot. I had no idea Brett was even in the conversation for the lead, and just like that, he sails right by him like the 04 truck. Good on you, Brett. Looking quick tonight. You see the lap traffic trying to stay out of the way, but how brutal this banking is. Like, they are just flying towards these oncoming cars, and this truly is an insane track. And I honestly want to give props to the guys. Again, don't want to jinx it, but this has been an impressive 1 caution, 35 lap stint here at Dover. It's been a fun race so far. And Brett Guzik now taking advantage, just sailing off into the distance.
Yeah, Brett Guzik doing a great job. Obviously, a really fast truck, and it looked like he may have done a good job of conserving his tires, because here he is starting to pull away. But bad news for a couple of drivers, one of those specifically being Mr. Brandon Jackson, as a couple of other drivers have already gone a lap down. He really needed a caution flag to come out so that he could get that lucky dog position. He wasn't able to do it, and he's going to be 2 laps down now. So that is going to be major playoff implications for the 99 truck.
Here you see Benny Hogan there getting passed by the number 2 truck of Nick Nickerson, who continues to have internet issues. Actually, something we're not really used to seeing with our defending series champion. So hopefully Nick can get those figured out. I know they can be pretty brutal from a driver's perspective, and just those little hesitations from the sim. But we're even seeing him here. iRacing, I don't know if they're just having some issues, but it's an iRacing specific thing, it would seem. So whatever it is, hopefully he's fighting through it. And yeah, I mean, the last thing you want here is lag. It's just so brutal to deal with. It makes each and every one of your decisions even tougher. And as you can even see, again, we're going to go in for the rear perspective here on Benny Hogan, but just watching these cars sail around the Monster Mile, they are flying in terms of pace, and those high bankings, as they often do, resulting in just a very chaotic race, kind of similar to Bristol. I think somebody in the chat made that connection there. So yeah, Tanya Mitchell saying Dover is like a big Bristol. It is indeed. And well, we remember Cody was pretty quick at Bristol, and he's pretty quick again tonight. Still currently sitting in second, but now Benjamin Lacey is past Benny Hogan, who has dropped down a couple spots. So Benjamin Lacey up into the 6th spot.
Yeah, Lacey up to 6, and like we said, he's one of those playoff drivers that we're going to have to keep an eye on. I mean, just like some of these other drivers, you look at Kevin Foster, he's running in 8th. Michael Ramos running in 10th position. Great runs from both of those guys, and those are 2 guys that are really dark horses for our playoff. I wouldn't necessarily say that Kevin Foster is a dark horse. He was the points leader for a long time, but he's a guy that doesn't get talked about as much because he's not, out here really winning races or out here finishing second 5-10 races in a row. But those guys are really ones to watch, sitting in 8th and 10th position. They're putting themselves in a really good spot. And as the race goes on, we're already 41 laps in. We're almost halfway. We're about to hit some green flag pit stops. We are hitting some green flag pit stops. Those are going to be guys to watch as we head down pit road.
We are beginning to see green flag pit stops. There is the 51 of Curtis Yancey coming down pit road, as well as Victor Weaver, Jason Greenwell, and here are the ones we want to watch. Ricky Hart now on pit road. Cale Zook pits from the, I believe, 6th position. So guys starting to come down pit road, and yeah, I mean, we haven't seen it. We didn't see a green flag stop last week, and didn't really see a pit stop strategy other than just how many cautions were we going to get. So tonight is going to be considerably different. Somebody in the past that I think has kind of struggled with some strategy at some races is Brett Guzik. You know, think back to his streak, kind of similar to Cody Welch's now, but his streak of just coming so close to race wins, really deserving them, but just being that little tiny bit short. I think we might be seeing that again, we might be seeing that again if his strategy tonight isn't able to come together, but I have the utmost faith in Brett, and I think he'll find a way. And now, again, he's got a considerable lead to work with. About, I think it's 1.27 seconds last time by for Brett, so he is looking comfortable, and yeah, Cody's got to find a way to respond.
Well, the 2 of Nick Nickerson going to be turned around on pit road. Maybe want to see, he's going back forward, but maybe want to see if we can get a replay of that. It's not often that you see Nick Nickerson messing up, doing something wrong. But yeah, turn himself around on pit road, and he's gonna fall back a good ways. That definitely took a lot of time for him to get himself turned back around.
Yeah, we'll go back here and see what happened. Yeah, oh, wow. Okay, did he ever here. Here we go to the full send racing replay here from Nick Nickerson's perspective. Yeah, the 2 truck coming onto pit road, and okay, had an internet dropout. Maybe that was the problem. Maybe just lost focus and slid himself right into the outside of the pit barrier. Actually, no real damage there. That truck looks almost spotless somehow, but yeah, that just an uncharacteristic move from, again, the former series champion, and or the defending series champion even, and no caution, so he's going to lose a considerable amount of time, only now just making it back out on track, getting passed by new race leader Benjamin Lacey.
Yeah, Benjamin Lacey taking the lead away from Brett Guzik, who's heading on to pit road, getting his service right now, as plenty of drivers are. And maybe a little bit of trouble. The 6 of Gary Wright is going to be slow. It looks like he missed pit road.
Yeah, you can see the 6 truck there, that radiant entry of Gary Wright from Pflugerville, Texas, heading down to turn number 1. He is considerably off the pace. Oh yeah, he's got damage to the left front too. Don't know what happened there to the 6 entry, but yeah,
I believe that Gary Wright and Benjamin Lacey may have gotten together while they were trying to get on pit road, or at least Benjamin Lacey was trying to get on pit road.
Yeah, looking back, we see something here. So yeah, let's go check it out. We're gonna go again to the full send racing replay. What happened to the 6 truck of Gary Wright heading down through turn 3? Here he comes. I think he came in too hot, locked it up, got into the tire barrier. Did Benjamin Lacey just clip the back end of that truck, or backed out a little, trying to get back on track? Just narrowly avoided a couple of real contenders in this race, got back up to speed. So Benjamin Lacey, I think, yeah, was just coming in behind him. Actually, lucky he wasn't involved in that. But yeah, just such a, again, Dover, such a quick track, such a quick pit entry, and it can certainly be tough to judge there.
Yeah, and you know, I've said it multiple times. If there's going to be a caution, if there's any time that it's going to be a caution, it's going to be while we're coming in for green flag pit stops. Those are things that people don't practice as much. So it's definitely time for mistakes to happen.
Here we see Peter Murphy in the 38 truck heading onto pit road there. Oh, almost clipping David Lakey. This pit entry is brutal. And then now he's just barely, he locks it up, avoids Brandon Jackson. This has been nutty. Probably the craziest stint of green flag pit stops I've seen in a very long time. Now Tony Hilbrands, who I think pitted on that first opportunity, now having to come back down pit road again. Here's his attempt. Can the 92 do it better? It was a little loose, locks up a little bit, but makes it on. And with that, your race leader is once again Brett Guzik. And we've now cycled back to the drivers who have made a pit stop.
And halfway down lap 50 of 100 here at Dover. The race halfway over, and shout out to Brett Guzik looking in the comments section. Brett became an uncle last night. His brother had a son, Weston Reed Guzik, so a huge shout out to him. Hope he is doing well, and Brett is looking to make his nephew proud tonight here at Dover.
Yeah, that's awesome. Congratulations to Brett, and yeah, I'm sure this one will be for him if he wins it. I'm sure we'll hear a shout out for Weston Reed. So here we go. Brett Guzik, now is the time, and again, a full 1.6 seconds ahead of Ricky Hart, who actually under the pit cycle did jump ahead of Cody Welch. So Ricky moving up there, and again, maybe that championship pedigree experience helping him out there a little bit. It's always those little moments, you know, those little pit stops, the pit cycles. Those are the valuable seconds you make up over the course of the race. And, you know, honestly, I was worried here at Dover. I thought it might be a single-line racetrack. I thought maybe pit strategy would be kind of the best passing opportunity in terms of offense, because it's proved tough in the past at some tracks to make passes. But we've seen tonight, I think, Evan, that top groove definitely viable. And if we get a good battle here, as we might in a moment with Kevin Foster and Curtis Yancey, we might see some nice, like, two-wide battling here in the corners.
Yeah, this is definitely a racetrack that you can battle at, and there has been plenty of battling going on, a lot of back and forth. Right now, Nick Nickerson is battling with Cale Zook. It looks like he just got by Cale Zook, battling for the 7th position at the moment. Nick Nickerson going to take that over.
So remember, Nick having his issues on pit road, spun it all the way around. I don't know how he's recovered only 5 seconds back of the leader. I'm assuming either didn't take tires, took less tires, but tonight with estimated by our very own Matt Crockett in the 10 truck, so shout out to him. But he estimated about a 40 to 42 lap cycle on fuel, so it's a 2-stop race. You can take tires every stop. Yeah, really not sure how he would have been able to make all that much time up, but he's back within 5 seconds of your race leader, Brett Guzik. And speaking of race leader, he is pulling away from the guys behind him, and Cody Welch is catching Ricky Hart, trying to put himself back into the 2nd spot.
Yeah, Nick Nickerson, if we go back to him working his way up, 7th position right now, just got by the 3 truck, I believe it is, the 44 truck of Cale Zook. Working on a couple guys. That 2 of Nick Nickerson is fast, up to P6 right now.
Yeah, we've seen in the past, he is just always a very quick truck at any track. It's just what he's known for, and even after some issues and even after some adversity tonight, he is finding a way to persevere and just picking up points. I mean, honestly, you know, points for him in our current format don't really mean much for him at the moment. You know, he's going to make his way into the next round regardless. The points are going to full out reset no matter what. So at the end of the day, it really doesn't mean the world to him. But, you know, you got to give some trouble to those playoff guys. You know, if you're Nick Nickerson here as he goes by Jason Greenwell in the 83 truck, a fellow playoff driver. But if you're Nick here, you know, every spot you take away from a playoff competitor is one less spot they have towards the championships. And depending on who he passes, whether it matters for his championship or not, he is affecting the overall order of things in the end of the day. And, you know, if it comes down to a case where, you know, one pass Nick makes knocks a major contender out of the playoffs in favor of somebody perhaps a little bit less proven, that could be beneficial for him. So you never know here for Nick, and each position counts. And that's what's so exciting about this season's playoff format. And that's what's going to make this battle exciting. A 3-way battle for 2nd place here is Ashley Molyneux, non-playoff driver, but she's trying to get herself involved in this little bit of a tussle here. This might be Cody's chance down to turn number 3.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and the fun thing about the playoffs is right now we've got 3 drivers who are in the playoffs running 1, 2, and 3. Brett Guzik, Ricky Hart Jr., and Cody Welch. These guys battling for a championship, really battling to get to the next round. And then right behind them is Ashley Molyneux. She's not in the playoffs. She would be if she had spent more time in the season, if she had been able to be here with us. She definitely is fast enough that the 43 truck would have been in the playoffs. But here she is. She's just trying to get a win here. But here it is. It's going to affect this playoff battle as we see the 85 is going to get by the 64, Ricky Hart Jr.
He will indeed. Cody Welch passing Ricky Hart in the 64 for the 2nd spot. So an all playoff top 3, and now it is Guzik, followed by your pole sitter from last week, Cody Welch, followed by Ricky Hart Jr., your champion of 2 seasons ago, and then Ashley Molyneux, who, as you mentioned, not Nick, Evan, I'm force of habit, you know. I got a roommate named Nick, and oh boy, does Nick Nickerson win a lot. So, Evan, yeah, we've seen in the past, yeah, I think Ashley would definitely be a playoff driver this season if she'd made anything near the full number of starts this season. She's just been lights out in the performances she's been able to have this season. Now getting by Ricky Hart Jr. down the inside. So I think Ricky, once Cody got by, you could kind of see he's either losing tires quick or he kind of got out of his rhythm. But now Ashley's going to get by. And I mean, Ricky really just needs to regroup here. You know, he's thinking big picture, a former series champion, somebody who's got multiple wins this season to prove his talents. Really, he just needs to make the round of 8 before he has to really worry about being knocked out at the moment. And just picking up a good haul of points tonight, it's really all he's going to be looking for, I'd imagine.
Yeah, as a driver, you always want to win the race, but you also have to think about the big picture, and that is something that is harder to do at sometimes. Coming out, you want to have the mentality of I'm going to win or I'm going to crash trying, but Ricky Hart Jr. doing a good job to kind of think about the big picture right now. It looks like he may be trying to conserve tires or something. He knows that he just wants to try and stay up front. He wants to have something for the end. and at least get a good finishing position out of it no matter what. So it looks like Ricky's just not exactly trying to push the issue right now, which I believe is a smarter thing to do.
Yeah, I think it's definitely in his best interest, especially with a track like Dover that is just so quick and so tough. Ashley Molyneux as well trying to get by, and this is going to frustrate Cody Welch. You got to imagine. Just we've talked about in the past that storyline of how close he's come, how incredible he's been. We cannot undersell that, but just always something in his way. Evan, if he gets the opportunity tonight, if he gets the opportunity to door somebody like he did to Brandon to get second last week, or just flat out an opportunity to spin somebody, he's not doing what he did at Texas again. I think he's going to go for it. We saw last week just how hungry he is. And I get the feeling he's not going to try to waste much time because he's still got to track down Brett Guzik if he wants to add any chance at the win. But he's going to fight Ashley Molyneux for that second spot.
Yeah, you heard Cody Welch mention a couple races ago. I don't know if it was week before last or what, but it was a couple races ago after the race. Cody Welch said, and he's going to be into the wall. A little bit of contact with the 45 of Ashley Molyneux. He looks like he's going to be all right, but he's going to lose some time here. 45 is going to get to his inside, and Ashley is going to have the second position. A little bit of damage to the right side of the 85 of Cody Welch. That's definitely going to be worth watching. A little mistake there, and really an uncharacteristic mistake from Cody Welch. But what I was saying, he said before that if the two of Nick Nickerson is in front of him on the last lap and he is in second position, then Cody is going to spin him to get the win. He's tired of finishing behind Nick Nickerson. He's tired of finishing in second place. And you can't blame the guy. He's come out. He's been so close to a win so many different times. It's almost like Brett Guzik was a little bit earlier in the season, just so close to a win so many times. And it's got to come eventually. And it might be here tonight at Dover, but yeah, he's going to have a lot of trouble getting into the back of the 72 truck of Mason Flagard. Looked like Mason maybe got in the wall a little bit. Really nowhere for the 85 to go. Not too much damage, though. He was able to jump down quick.
Yeah, I think this lap traffic now is proving to be his biggest adversaries. Now, Ricky Hart, who just a couple moments ago couldn't find his way up towards him, but now he's going to get by the 64 truck, taking advantage of presumably the damage, as he mentioned, Evan, on the back end of Cody Welch's truck. Ashley Molyneux down pit road for what will be the final time in tonight's event. So an early pit stop there for her. Got to think that's a strategic decision there overall, but Brett Guzik out front continuing to run away with it. And a little ways further back, this battle between Cody and Ricky could heat up again. But yeah, I think as you diagnosed there, Evan, that rear damage there to the 85 of Cody Welch, I think it could be brutal. And yeah, he's coming down pit road, taking a quick repair before this gets any worse.
Yeah, and we're seeing a couple other people come down pit road. Ashley Molyneux going to be one of them. Oh, the 85 sliding onto pit road. But Ashley Molyneux going to be one of them. Trey Ellis, now Cody Welch.
And there you see the damage there to that beautiful Eagle on the front, holding the Full Send Racing Network logo. So again, shout out to Cody for another great paint scheme. Speaking of great paint schemes, Bill Harkins tonight, the founder of the series, running a great looking number 11 truck with the Nesquik livery. So something a little bit different, and he soars his way by the race leader of Brett Guzik, who is on older tires. He's not trying to fight, but now he's going to get the move done on Ashley Molyneux. Going to put her, I believe, I think it'll be 2 laps down at this point. So quick laps here at Dover, so usually you go 2 laps down in a single pit cycle. Now she's immediately going to fight her way right back, and that tells you all you need to know about just how crucial tires are here, that these lap trucks are just flying by your race leader.
Yeah, this race is really flying by. We're already on lap 73 of 100. We're 3/4 into the race, almost 3/4 into the race. We're seeing people come down for green flag pit stops. Kevin Foster, Nick Nickerson, one of the Zook family on pit road as well. Brett Guzik will have to be coming down pit road before long.
Yeah, trying to get a good shot here of Nick Nickerson exiting pit road. Same with Kevin Foster, his teammate at GFR Racing, going with him. Now Ricky Hart is on pit road. Same with Hunter Henry, who just got there a moment ago. Victor Weaver, both guys who are having good races to this point. So there we go, Ricky Hart getting his service. Curtis Yancey just hopping onto pit road now in the 51 truck. Still some damage to the front right of that entry, but
and the caution flag is going to be out.
It is.
6 is going to be around.
Yeah, crucial timing here. Gary Wright here, you see almost the exact same spot, Evan, we saw earlier that he was running off the pace. Coming out of turn number 4, must have had some troubles. And yeah, just like that, the second caution of the race. What a green flag stint there. But now things get interesting late here in the race. We're going to stack them up again. And this might be, it might be terrible for some of these drivers 2 laps down here under caution. But it's going to be, I think just what Cody Welch wanted to see here in his hopes of making some ground up on Brett Guzik.
Yeah, and this is really going to change a lot. The 04 Brett Guzik diving down pit road right now. I don't believe that pit road would be open yet, but I guess so. Either that or Brett Guzik is just so out of fuel that he had to pit. But there you see the 6 going around.
Yeah, pretty simple. We'll show it one more time there. But yeah, Ashley Mullen on the high side just runs himself out of room a little bit. Oh, and then it was Bill Hart. I didn't even actually notice that part. I thought he just got holy cow, another one. Okay, so we have this kind of recurring segment. I like to think this series has a lot of variety. I like to think we always provide you with new content each week. But if there was one constant in this series, it is Cody Welch just managing to avoid things. Wow. Another one. Another one. If he had slid down 2 feet more, Cody Welch would yet again be out of the race. But say what you will about him, but for every race in which he finishes runner-up in heartbreaking fashion, Cody finds a way to make a miraculous avoidance of a spinning truck. And he does it so often, and it's so much fun, and he does it yet again.
Yeah, no matter what, Cody does such a great job. One of the things that I think he is best at is just putting himself in a good position to finish up front and to potentially win the race. I feel like he does that as good as anyone else, if not better. Things can go bad for him, and he does a great job to work his way back up calmly but aggressively. He has a really good mixture, whereas some of these drivers are a little too calm, some of these drivers are a little too aggressive. Cody does a really good job of working his way back up through the field, fighting through adversity, and just he's really good at that.
Yeah, oh, he's stellar. I think more so than anybody. Not more so than anybody. I think the most improved driver I've seen in my time in this series is, shout out to him, he's currently sitting in 15th. He's actually on pit road right now, but Mark Allen Bibbins, the guy has just made up so much progress, such a young age. The Blytheville, Arkansas native, is going to be a top guy in this series for a very long time. But yeah, I mean, if you talk about, I think, most improved in terms of mindset, I think Cody Welch, the driver we had at the start of last season, which was still an incredible season for him, don't get me wrong, but I think that the amount of improvement we've seen to his rise as a seriously top driver in the series, like maybe Nick Nickerson. Nick Nickerson would be 1A, but he would be Nick Nickerson 1B. You know, he's pretty stellar, and yeah. So I don't mean to disparage Cody whatsoever. I think he's got just as much of a shot at the championship as Nick does, but with what Nick's done this season, currently sitting on 4 consecutive wins heading into tonight, he's your defending series champion. I don't know about you, Evan, but I don't think it's unfair to say that anybody is below Nick Nickerson, because it's just, come on, he's the 2 truck. We know him. Tonight might not be his best race of the season, but we can never count him out. And honestly, at this point, as he gets around the pace truck to get back on the lead lap, I haven't even counted him out for the win tonight yet. So you never know, but yeah, I think that's a fair thing to say in relation to him and Cody Welch.
Yeah, it's Nick Nickerson is just on another level. I don't know how the guy does it. He's having an off night, and he's still really in contention for a win. Honestly, things have gotten shaken up now, especially with everything that happened with the lapped car, everything like that. Things have got shaken, or not the lap car, but the caution right as people were on pit road. That always shakes things up a lot. But honestly, Nick's still an off night and still in contention for a win. That's really good.
Well, now we got to talk about, right as we go green here, the lights in the pace truck are still on, but we got 1 lap to go. What an interesting top 10 we've now got, Evan. Everybody in this top 10 has pitted. They all have new tires. They're on an even playing field. So Benjamin Lacey, let's do a quick through the field segment here. We haven't done this in a little bit, but we don't have a graphic for it, but presented by Perfect Shine Auto Spa. We love them. They're the title sponsor of the series, in addition to GeezerAuthentics.com. So thank you to them. Actually, okay, we're going to do this through the field in a quick moment. I just want to very quickly also mention, as I forgot to just a moment ago, and usually I show it pre-race here when I'm talking about a number of other things, but merch. We got merch, everybody. We always got it. Bill Harkin's working every week to add some new stuff to the lineup, and the new thing you'll see in just a moment, it comes in both a shirt and a sweater, but we have these new like driver like full driver roster shirts. You'll see here in just a moment. Hopefully it comes up well enough for you there. But yeah, these cool new driver roster shirts come in a number of colors, and they've got every driver in the series there on them, and every driver as of this full season. Everybody who's run full time this year. So It's a great design. We got a hoodie for it, something new. But there you go. As always, the link is in the description there. If you want to go get yourself some Bandit merch, great prices there. You see there, that's the I believe the American pricing, and it's made pretty much at cost. You know, almost exactly what it costs to make is what it costs for you. And there's some great stuff there. If you want a shirt that has every driver in Season 9 of the Bandit Racing League on it, that is the place to go. But here we go. Top 10. Lacey, Hogan, Christopher Hamilton out of nowhere, Ferrara in the playoffs, a damaged Michael Ramos, Tony Hilbrands could finally get the good luck to turn around. Gary Wright is in that pack, not on the lead lap, but he's involved. This is about to get nuts. Here we go. For the third time today, green flag, Lacey and Hogan lead him to green, down into turn number 1 in the Mission for Nutrition 100 at Dover. Things are about to get nuts with 21 to go.
This is going to be a really interesting restart. The 7 of Benjamin Lacey out to a quick jump. And in the back, everybody spreading out with 21 laps to go.
Whoa, here's the wreck. Ricky Hart's in it. Hart's in it. Nickerson involved. Heading to turn number 3. Caution is out. Third of the
Huge
day.
playoff implications.
Yeah, no doubt. Ricky Hart Jr. So we're still wrecking. Anthony Caetano's involved in something. Cale Zook, who was tonight's pole sitter, was doing so well tonight. How it has fallen apart, unfortunately, for the 44 truck there, trying to get back up to speed. But I think Jason Greenwell got caught in that as well. Let's go to the 83 truck. Where is he on track? Where is Jason? There he is. Jason Greenwell, another playoff driver, the 83 there. Wow. What is it we always say, Evan, in regards to cautions?
Cautions breed cautions.
They do indeed, don't they? And they do yet again. Yeah, wow. Okay, so just like that, we had just said, I guess we did call it, things are about to get interesting, and well, it took a turn for the worse there as a number of drivers now going to get involved in this wreck, including as well, I'm seeing Kevin Foster and Connor Sawyer, more playoff drivers. So there's Connor Sawyer, the 3 truck, heading to turn number 4. I don't know about you, Evan, but I can't tell based on that perspective if maybe Gary got hooked from beneath or kind of what happened there. So that's Mark Allen Bivens right behind. No, he didn't touch him at all. I think Wright just checked up really hard there into turn number 3. I think Bivens had no choice but to make contact with him. But the one we want to focus on here is Ricky Hart. Again, playoff implications here are going to be huge. He already kind of fallen back after a great beginning to the race. Was good heading into tonight on points, but just like that, finds himself riding the wall there on the side like he's messing around at a dirt track there. Getting involved in the aftermath, and you see there as well the smoking 2 truck of Nick Nickerson. I mean, again, this race not super important for his purposes, but yeah, you know, it's uncharacteristic to see the 2 truck smoking and looking considerably damaged. And here was that second wreck. There we go. A second wreck here in the aftermath. So here's Jason Greenwell's perspective in the 83, heading down to turn number 3. So you see the main wreck go around. He manages actually to avoid that. And then Mark Allen Bivens tangles with Connor Sawyer up front. That's what knocks Sawyer out of it. Then the 83 gets hit by Foster. And then Foster gets run into by Caetano and Zook. It was just a classic truck pile here, as we've seen it quite a number of races here in the Bandit Racing League at some of the shorter tracks. But overall tonight, this is kind of the exception to the rule. We've had an impressively civil race tonight, I'd say.
Yeah, we really have. And correct me if I'm wrong, I believe the 6 truck was on older tires. That could have contributed to it. I believe some of those drivers around him had fresher tires. I'm not quite sure about that, but yeah, it looked like the 6 maybe got a little bit loose, went up the racetrack, not exactly sure what happened, and the drivers behind him just didn't expect him to be going into the corner that slow, and a little bit of contact is going to get you loose here, and once you're loose, everybody's vying for position so hard with 20 laps to go, it's bound to cause an accident at that point.
Well, now I guess we got a second chance at a quick through the field segment here. So let's kind of introduce you to your top 10 and see what kind of nights everybody's been having so far. Benjamin Lacey finds himself at the lead of this pack, and with I think it's going to be about 16 laps to go when we go green next. Got as good of a shot as anybody to make his way into the round of 8 right now, sitting here in the top 10. And remember as well, the other 2 drivers here in the top 3, not playoff drivers, so got a bit of a buffer there to the next driver he's battling for the playoffs. And as we showed you on the playoff bracket, we'll put it up again quickly. But this was an important night for him. I mean, he was not particularly great in terms of the cutoff, sitting there set a third to last in the entire group, sitting 18 points below the cutoff to Connor Sawyer, who just wrecked. So tonight, whether he wins it or not, and you know he's going to be gunning for the win, but tonight, just a huge improvement for Benjamin Lacey overall as far as the playoffs are considered. On the outside, Benny Hogan, who was having such a good run tonight from the start, really in qualifying till now, he's been good here. Kind of fell back through a little bit in that first stint, but has since recovered, finds himself in second. Then we get an all Christopher second row with Hamilton and Ferrara. Christopher Ferrara, another good performance for him early in the playoffs. Was pretty good last week, but got involved in Rex late, and I believe he got sent towards the bottom of the playoff grid, so tonight could be big for him. Brett Guzik and Curtis Yancey on row number 3. They're going to be quick, both playoff contenders, though Yancey does have some damage. Then it's David Lakey there on the inside of row number 4, alongside Michael Ramos, fellow playoff driver, and Tony Hilbrands and Ashley Molyneux get around at your top 10. Keep an eye on Molyneux, and of course, he's getting ready, getting warmed up, getting his truck shaken out. The only guy in the top 20 doing it. Well, there goes Peter Murphy, but watch out. Cody Welch has enough time. I think he's going to find himself up front pretty quick, but here we go, Evan. The lights in the pace truck are off. I'll let you take us to green for the 4th time tonight.
After our third caution, 17 laps to go here. Benjamin Lacey on the front row, the 88 of Benny Hogan, going to be to his outside. Getting ready, and they are firing. The 7 truck is off. Green flag is out. The 7 going to dive down into turn 1 in first place. Benny Hogan is going to be up on the outside in the second row. The 15 of Christopher Hamilton is going to be battling to his inside for second position.
Meanwhile, further back, Brett Guzik slicing and dicing through the field. Just put a gnarly move on Curtis Yancey. Now he's under Christopher Ferrara, the 04 truck, who we saw lead a considerable portion of the middle of the race.
We've got a playoff driver around.
Number of drivers involved. Hart, I think, just avoiding it. Michael Ramos upside down, flipping across the racetrack. There he currently tucked up on the pit wall, looking like a dog doing his business there. Oh, can we go to a replay there on that? That was... I have never seen a truck get up on the wall like that, but yeah, another caution, 4th of the night. Cautions.
What is it we say about cautions, Marshall?
I believe they breed cautions, is what we...
I do believe that they do.
That sounds about right. And yeah, another one there. Christopher Ferrara, I saw, apparently just wrecked, but he is looking fine at the moment. So yeah, another Full Send Racing replay presented by Perfect Shine Auto Spa. Ricky Hart involved again. Connor Sawyer involved again. I think like cautions breed cautions, but even for individual drivers, wrecks breed wrecks. And here was Michael Ramos, a damaged race truck, but he was sitting right in front of, or right behind the leaders and tagged by Ashley Molyneux. Then by, I think that was, trying to remember, I think it was David Lakey. Oh, then gets flipped over by the 72, the inverse of his number. And there you go, tucks himself up in the barrier. That's hilarious. I don't think I've ever seen that. There you go. Let's just get a replay of the rear perspective here to see what, well, first of all, how that collision started, because again, got tagged by Ashley Molyneux, which seems kind of out of character for both her and Michael. This carried a lot of speed. Actually, I think he checked up in behind Curtis Yancey, who maybe slowed in the middle of the corner. But here you go. So bouncing off the turn 4 outside wall, gets clipped, well, not clipped, gets nailed by the 72 of Flagar, and just slides right onto the barrier. That's pretty unique. Haven't seen that before. And Ricky Hart
just trying to get out of everybody's way.
Exactly. That's respectful, honestly. Yeah, good on him. That's some Canadian level politeness there we're seeing from the 27 of Ramos. So yeah, another wreck, yet another one in which Ricky Hart's involved. There's Christopher Ferrara there, who again we thought was involved, but is not. And yeah, another wreck. And now we're down. I think it's gonna be 11 to go here on this in this next restart. And what a race! It's gotten interesting there again, Evan. After we saw all those green flag laps early, but now these cautions starting to come in. And the question is really who has the short-term pace here at Dover. And I think we just saw a moment ago, maybe he tipped his hand a little bit. Brett Guzik, I think, is going to be quick here at the end.
Yeah, Brett Guzik is definitely going to be one to watch. We saw how fast he was earlier, and there's no reason to think that he isn't just as fast right now, sitting in 4th position. You know, a driver that is a little bit of a dark horse right now, sitting in 6th, the 51 of Curtis Yancey. He's a really fast driver, especially on the short tracks, and he's a really aggressive driver, and, you know, sometimes that's what you have to be, especially with 13 laps to go. So I definitely think he has the talent to get up there and at least compete for this win. But we haven't talked about Benjamin Lacey enough. I mean, he's sitting up front right now, and he's definitely in the preferred spot. If there's anywhere you want to be, it's up front. It's leading the race. He just has to hold on to that lead for 13 more laps. He's definitely a good enough driver to do it. So we'll just have to watch and see what happens. But Marshall, if you were to pick somebody, who do you think is going to come out on top, pull into victory lane with 13 laps to go here?
Oh, tonight is particularly tough. Sometimes it seems kind of common sense and we're trying to fight against the obvious pick, but I think genuinely here, I don't know if there is an obvious pick. I mean, Benjamin Lacey, I have the utmost confidence he can take it to the win. You know, we'll see how many more cautions we get. If we get them real early on a couple restarts, he could find himself only having to defend for 2 laps from Hogan, Hamilton, Guzik, Ferrara. But I think we're going to get at least 5 laps at green would be my prediction. And I feel like there's enough time for Brett to do it. I feel like he's just so quick that if he can just get a couple laps under his belt, I feel like he's the kind of guy in terms of pace tonight that could just fly by and sail off. And yeah, could get his second win of the season here, could punch himself into the round of 8, and wouldn't be out of the ordinary whatsoever. Same with Benjamin Lacey again last year. It was in the Final 4, so there's definitely precedent for him to be as quick as he's been. But yeah, that's tough. I'm going to go Guzik, but I'll throw it to you, Evan. Who are you feeling about? Again, we can't forget Cody Welch either. Still in 10th, but he's a guy who's quick and probably has enough time to make his way back up.
Yeah, for me, it's between the 7 and the 04. I think it's either going to be Benjamin Lacey or Brett Guzik. I feel like Cody Welch definitely still has that opportunity, though. Like you said, for me, I think it's all going to depend on the amount of green flag laps that we get for Cody to come up there and make his way to the front. I don't think we can get more than 1 caution. So if we go green from here, if we get 1 more caution, I think Cody has a chance. I think he has a really good chance if we get 1 more caution. If he can make up a couple spots, get another caution, and then make up a couple more spots, have a little quick shootout battle to the end. But if there's anything more than that, Cody's just a little bit too far back. But yeah, I would have to say either the 7 of Benjamin Lacey or the 04 of Brett Guzik is going to be my pick right now.
I think it's a good bet, but let's also not forget about Benny Hogan sitting on the outside of the front row in probably the best spot of anybody. We've seen that top line be quick on the restarts, and Christopher Hamilton has been incredible in the past. Finally finds himself in the top 3 late. Here we go. Green flag, 4th restart of the day here. Benjamin Lacey takes him to green with 11 to go at Dover in the second round of the Bandit Racing League Season 9 playoffs. Things are getting nutty already. Down to the inside of Curtis Yancey is Christopher Ferrara. Molino trying to go with him. A little ways up front now. Brett Guzik battling to the outside of Christopher Hamilton. Gets the better run off the corner. Guzik is clear into turn number 3. And he is making his way up from the 3rd spot. Has 10 to go this next time by.
Yeah, Brett Guzik really fast, working his way up. A little bit of a battle back behind the 13 of Christopher Ferrara. He's battling side by side with Curtis Yancey, 2 playoff drivers right there, 2 really fast drivers. It's really a 4-way battle. It's 13 of Ferrara, Ashley Molino up to the outside, Yancey in front, and we're wrecking. The 94 truck is going to be turning around.
Hunter Henry, playoff contender, is the driver of the number 94 truck. Where is Henry? Sitting there a little ways down, already down pit road, so something must have gone seriously wrong there for the driver of the number 94. And another playoff contender who was relatively quick early, but did have a little bit of damage, finds himself behind the wall once again. Caution number 5, and we'll throw it back and forth. Evan, what do we say?
Cautions breed cautions.
They do indeed. Yet another caution. Here we go, 5th of the day. Benjamin Lacey gets a couple less laps to worry about, but the 94 truck down to turn number 1. Daniel Stein there, the 87 Mission for Nutrition truck. Yeah, he just tangled with him flat out. I don't know what else to put it. I don't think that was necessarily on the fault of Daniel Stein. I got to get a better view of it and see what happened there, but it was...
Yeah, just everybody vying for position. We're so close to the end of this race, and you've got to do everything that you can to get up to the front. And here, this is just a track where things happen so quickly, and we've seen that a couple times in a row now.
Yeah, kind of a subtle tap, actually. Just kind of didn't quite square up the bump onto the back bumper of the number 94. It was close, and then obviously the bobble in front. Nothing really that the 87 could do once the 94 got loose. And, you know, Hunter's not going to be happy about that, certainly. You know, getting tangled with anybody, especially from behind, you know, you're not actively involved. It's not really a decision he made. It's tough to swallow, certainly, especially as a playoff driver. So Hunter Henry already came in, I think, again, I want to bring the cutoff, or the playoff bracket up again, just so we have some context here, but yeah, already a guy that I think needed to make up some points tonight is having an unfortunate start to the playoffs for him, although he was close. He was within 10 points. You see here, if we go again to our playoff bracket, was relatively within the vicinity of the playoff cutoff line, and with Connor Sawyer having some struggles tonight, as well as Michael Ramos getting involved in a wreck, spots are up for grabs. Trying to think right now who might move into the playoff cutoff there, above the 8th spot here tonight, based on what we've seen.
Ferrara, he's a good ways back on that playoff bracket. He didn't have the time in New Hampshire that he wanted to have, but right now he's running in 6th position. If he can, just finishing in 6 is really going to be a great job, especially with some of these drivers that are going to fall down. Brandon Jackson is going to take a fairly hefty fall. So is Haggy. There's a good bit of these drivers that that Ferrara is going to finish quite a bit better than as long as he stays relatively where he's at.
Yeah, another guy we should talk about as well, in addition to Curtis Yancey, who needed to make up some points, and indeed has. He was 1 spot ahead of race leader Benjamin Lacey, but he's only 4 spots back of him on track, so he is going to be doing well. Should make his way above the cutoff line despite that rough first week at New Hampshire. But as well, David Lakey I've been impressed with. Had 19 points coming into tonight. Is only in the top 10 right now, but in a field of about 40 trucks, that is not a bad result whatsoever. Certainly in the conversation there to make his way above the cutoff line. And yeah, I think, again, I don't want to call anybody a surprise in this series, because I think genuinely every driver in the playoffs deserves an opportunity to run for, well, the championship certainly, but at least to prove themselves as one of the best in the series overall and put themselves in that top tier. And I think David Lakey is a guy we've seen that when he has a good day, when he has a good run, is just a really solid guy. It's really, really, consistent. I know he puts in the practice quite a bit, and to find himself here in the top 10 at the end of tonight's event, the Greenville, Kentucky native there, and running, again, that great number 84 scheme. I hope I get the font for that for next week, because that 84 kind of 8-bit style is a really cool number he's got there. So David Lakey, somebody that, again, if he can find a few more spots here, sitting right behind playoff drivers Tony Hilbrands and Cody Welch, could find himself above that cutoff, and it would not surprise me whatsoever, especially knowing that he's pretty decent at road courses. Wouldn't surprise me if he makes it into the round of 8.
Yeah, it would not surprise me at all. There's a lot of drivers that when I filled my bracket out, it was really hard to narrow it down to 8, and especially hard to narrow it down to 4. There's just so many good drivers in this field, a bunch of drivers that could make it. And you know what? Every time I look at this, I forget about Ramos. I probably should have included him, but it's so hard to insert everyone, but.
Yeah, you see there my bracket I threw together for our bracket challenge a couple weeks back, and thank you again to those of you who submitted those. And I know plenty of drivers threw their hats in the ring. Actually, very quickly we'll show a couple of drivers' perspectives right before we go green here. So yeah, we got Charles Oberg, who thinks Ricky Hart is going to be your champion this season. Christopher Ferrara is going probably the more proven pick here. He's going with Nick Nickerson as the series champion, and David Lakey here, again, fellow playoff driver, is going with Ricky Hart. So some good picks there. I think they're all pretty solid, but again, we could see some dark horses. Wouldn't be surprised if Brett Guzik not only wins tonight's race, but makes his way into the championship spot at the end of the final round of the season at Charlotte. But here we go. 5 laps to go. The 7, the 88, Brett Guzik. Can he make his way through? Curtis Yancey in 5th, a playoff driver, but we are green. 5 laps to go at Dover, and the Mission for Nutrition 100, and Brett Guzik already up to 2nd. I think in the back, that's Hamilton getting a little bit squirrely right in front of Yancey.
Yeah, a lot of guys getting squirrely, a lot of guys battling for position. And Benjamin Lacey, he's the driver out front. Brett Guzik in the 2nd position. Brett Guzik's going to be right on his tail. Brett has 5 laps to the end of the race, and that's going to be a battle here in a minute. But so is a battle right here, the 13 of Christopher Ferrara on the outside of the 45 of Ashley Molyneux.
Yeah, actually holding the spot down. Good job to Christopher Ferrara. Great piece of driving there to conserve a playoff point. But up front, this is where it's going to get interesting. Getting so close is Brett Guzik to the back of Benjamin Lacey. It'll be 3 to go this time by 3 miles here at Dover. We are running out of time. Will we get a caution in these last couple laps? Remember, if a caution comes out after the white flag is flown, it does not count. We do not do a green-white checkered. So Guzik has to find any time available to him to get Benjamin Lacey within the next approximately a minute and a half. He's getting close. He's trying to track him down. These two guys are well clear of everybody else, just proving exactly how quick they are tonight. But 2 laps to go. Can Lacey hold him off to the end? He's getting darn close. Further back, Hogan, Hamilton, and Welch battling for that final playoff spot, or the final podium spot, I should say. Welch now making his way up to 4, so we'll keep an eye on that as well. Getting down to the inside of Hamilton, but I think Hogan's far enough away. He should hold on to 3rd. But up front, the battle for the lead coming to the white flag. 1 more lap to go here at Dover. We won't go to yellow, so Benjamin Lacey one more time around as Guzik just running out of steam.
The 51 gets turned around. The 13 turns to 51.
Huge implications
for Curtis Yancey.
Yancey's playoff hopes might be slipping away in front of us. Already needs to make up points. A great race so far, but off of turn number 4, punch your ticket to the round of 8. Benjamin Lacey trying to get back to the final 4 again, wins it at Dover. His 2nd of the season after a win at Atlanta. Holds off Brett Guzik, charging hard at the end for the win. And the 7 truck of Benjamin Lacey conquers the Monster Mile. Benny Hogan just barely holds off Cody Welch for 3rd, but gets the podium spot. Cody Welch, a great drive, but can't quite seal it in the end. He only gets 4th, but that'll help him with playoff points. Christopher Hamilton rounds off your top 5. But Benjamin Lacey, your race winner in the FedEx number 7 truck, win number 2 of the season. And Evan, he was in the Final 4 last season for a reason. Don't be surprised if we see this man there again this year.
Yeah, Benjamin Lacey, there's just something about him. He just has that, I don't know what it is, that clutch ability to where he comes up big when he needs to. He just locked himself into the next round of the playoffs, and a great job to do so. A little bit of animosity after the race. The 87 of Daniel Stein, the 51 of Curtis Yancey, a little bit of contact after the green flag, and a good bit of mouthing over the radio. So I know there may be a radioactive to look for. You guys might want to keep an eye on the Bandit Racing official social media pages if that comes out in the next couple of days. It's definitely going to be interesting. It's a fun race here at Dover, and there you see the 7 of Benjamin Lacey doing his victory burnouts after not only winning here at Dover, his 2nd win of the season, but locking himself into the next round of the playoffs.
Yeah, congratulations to Benjamin Lacey. What a drive. His strategy worked to perfection, as it always does for him. I think that's where we really got to keep him in mind at any race, because he always seems to make the right calls, make the right decisions that he needs to pick up wins, and does it again tonight, puts himself in the right spot to compete. Brett Guzik and Benny Hogan round off the top 3 again. And yeah, we saw there at the end that wreck between Daniel Stein and Curtis Yancey. Maybe we're going to go to a quick replay there before we go to your first interview of the night with Brett Guzik, Benjamin Lacey, who was standing by. We'll interview Brett in just a moment as well. But yeah, let's just go back, get a replay of that final incident there, and see what happened. So this is Gary Moore and Michael Ramos and Andrew Zuck, 3 very damaged race trucks. They got in a wreck early. I think, yeah, Connor Sawyer just barely avoided that. So this happened as well. This is after the checkered flag. But what we care about is Curtis Yancey's wreck with, I think you said it was Daniel Stein.
Curtis Yancey and Christopher Ferrara in the 13.
Oh, okay.
I believe Daniel Stein might have been involved as well. Not exactly sure.
Yeah, so
Daniel Stein was involved in something. I'm not exactly sure how he was involved. We'll have to figure it out.
Yeah,
51, 13, and Hillbrands as well. They were all 3 battling really hard, and this was taking the white flag right here. There you see the 51 gets turned off the nose of the 13 of Christopher Ferrara.
Yeah, that was darn close too. I mean, look at the margin with which he caught him there. Yeah, it sucks. I feel really bad for Curtis on that one. Still comes home for 14th, so not a bad points haul again in a field of 40, but such thin margins here at Dover. And again, I think Christopher Ferrari just took a little bit more than was there, but in the end, I mean, of the 2 drivers, I think Curtis still comes away with a fair chunk of points. So more wrecking there you see in turn number 3 at the end. I feel really bad for Curtis, but he'll fight back. He's good at the road courses, and we head to one next week at Watkins. But here we go. We got to get to your first interview of the night with race winner tonight here at Dover, Benjamin Lacey, a guy we've talked to actually a fair bit in the past, but maybe again somebody that remains somehow underrated in this series, and we got to put an end to that. Let's pull him in the broadcast booth and start on the path of giving him his fair due here in this series.
Yeah, excited to hear this conversation with Marshall and Benjamin Lacey coming up here in just a second when he gets pulled in here. But before we do, I'm going to go ahead and step away. Unfortunately, not going to be able to join you guys for the interview portion. So just quickly want to say thank you for the great race tonight. Thank you, everyone, for watching. And hopefully I'll be back next week. But for now, I'm going to have to call it a night early and step out. Thank you all. Y'all have a great night. And stick around for these interviews. They ought to be fun.
It's awesome. Thank you, Evan. Thank you so much for stopping by this week. Yeah, hopefully we have you back again next week. But it was a pleasure to call with you. Hopefully you enjoyed the race. And I wish you a great rest of your week. And we'll see you soon.
Definitely. All of y'all as well. Y'all have a great week.
And hey, everybody, check out Evan Wall Media. We always got the link in the description. Speaking of Evan, always good to get a chance to plug it. He does all sorts of stuff, does iRacing paints, does it's custom numbers, all sorts of graphics work. He's the guy that makes all the graphics for this series, does just so much stellar work, and we are so very lucky to have him in the series. So he's going to head off there, and we will head off to your first interview of the night with race winner Benjamin Lacey. Again, just what a drive from the number 7. Benjamin Lacey, it is Marshall up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy? Hey, Benjamin Marshall up in the broadcast. You got a copy?
Yes, I do.
Welcome, Benjamin. Congratulations, man. Second of the season. Clutch timing to get it. You punched yourself into the round of 8 here at Dover, and you had to fight for that one. I mean, early on in the race, I felt like your strategy was perfect. You put yourself in a good spot to win, but there at the end, you proved against Brett, who was so quick early in the race, that you had the pace as well. Just talk us through those last couple laps, trying to hold them off, and were those cautions kind of helping your progress, do you think?
Yeah, at the start of the race was just basically trying to conserve the tires, keep up with the pack for the most part, and then I knew some of the guys were going to pit short, but I was kind of counting on that late caution to come out on lap 75ish, right around there, because getting in and out of pit road is so difficult to do here. So I figured something like that was going to happen, and then just at that point, just being in a good position to win. But yeah, Brett was making me nervous. Same with Benny Hogan. The restarts there, I was just trying to vary up when I was going to go to keep them on their toes, so that way they never knew a consistent spot to go. But yeah, both those guys had some good pace tonight, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun racing with them.
Now, talking about Dover as a track on its own, as an individual driver trying to make your way around the Monster Mile, it's the Monster Mile for a reason. It's such a tough racetrack. We saw guys all throughout the race having trouble getting onto pit road. That was a common problem. I know that turn 2 wall, at least as far as I'm concerned, and for many other drivers, is one of the toughest corners in all of NASCAR. So with the heavy banking, with the trouble on pit road, like what aspect was the most tough to overcome tonight?
This is one of those tracks for me where I got to race the track. I can't sit there and focus on what the other drivers are doing too much, because like you say, this track is so unique and so treacherous out of 2 or 4 even for that matter, especially when the tires start getting worn. You really got to start driving the track, and if you can start doing that more consistently, you'll start being able to capitalize on the mistakes by the other drivers. That was kind of one of the strategies I was focusing on today, was just really just driving my line, trying to stay consistent with the track, race that rather than the other drivers.
I think tonight your drive, more than anything, I think speaks to your level of focus, your ability to just stay in tune with the truck, because you led a considerable portion of tonight's event, and we saw just how many trucks you were having to pass there, coming out of pit road, getting back up to speed, new tires, old tires, passing lap trucks. That seemed like a tough element tonight, and would you agree that Dover's a pretty tough track to do it at, and how do you, as the leader, balance staying quick with making safe decisions when passing lap trucks?
Yeah, that's one of the things is lap trucks can get in the way and causing people behind you to come up and get you. So you got to be conscious that you got to make quick work of them. One of the things I try to do is just back off on the corner and then kind of diamond out that exit so you get a longer straightaway, then get that run on the straightaway, dive down the low on side of them, and pass them going to the next corner. That was kind of my move the whole night. Seemed to work out pretty well. And then I don't know how many of these laps I actually led under green, but I'll take the W any way I can get it.
Yeah, you led quite a few. I don't believe I have the exact stat up here, but you're definitely going to be in the conversation, I think, for most laps led. And the bonus points don't so much matter here now that you got yourself punched into the round of 8 on a win. But I'd imagine it's certainly nice to take the point off of somebody else. And speaking of which, I mean, Benjamin, you were last season. I almost think we underrate you compared to some of the more aggressive names that are always at the forefront of our screens because they're doing all sorts of crazy stuff. But I think your ability to strategize, your ability to plan the long term makes you almost a more dangerous driver in a lot of senses than some of these guys. So I think we really got to give you your due more. And tonight you proved exactly why. You're trying to make your way back to the round of 4, the final round of the playoffs, just like you did last season. And now you find yourself in the round of 8. So, what does the round of 8 look like for you? Again, I'll pull up the schedule here just so everybody at home knows, and just so I can remember it. But it's Eldora, Darlington, and Myrtle Beach is going to be round 2 of the playoffs that you are now locked into. So when it comes to that round and trying to make it back to the round of 4, how do you think this season is going to differ from last year for you?
First and foremost, we got some dirt on there, I believe. So there's that. So that's gonna be a fun time to deal with. Darlington, that's another track where you gotta race the track, not the people. So kind of a similar situation here. And I think if I remember, I think last season I think I snuck a W out of that one. So hopefully maybe we can go in and show in a good showing there too, get a top 5, and be consistent up there. It's kind of the game plan.
Well, you got a few extra weeks to plan for it now because just like Nick, you are officially punched into the round of 8. And congratulations to you, sir, on doing so. 2nd win of the season. And now you got some time to go scheme, to go prepare, and get ready for that triple tandem there starting again, I believe, at Darlington. So I wish you the best of luck going forward. I hope you have a great week celebrating. But now you know what time it is for the first time, I think the first time since we changed to the first interview of the night being the winner's interview. Well, now is your chance to give some shout outs to people at home, talk about any sponsors you got, and just whatever you'd like to talk about is your time.
Yeah, first and foremost, Full Send Race Network, you, Marshall, doing a great job. I don't know if there's anyone else in the booth there with you, but if there is, great job to them too. Bill and the admins for putting the league on and taking care of all of that. And then, my brother, he's over in Africa right now doing some film work. So shout out to him for doing what he loves,
Yeah, for sure. And well, I hope you loved what you were doing tonight and spending your time practicing here for Dover and coming away with the victory, second of the season, winning the Monster Mile. That's got to feel pretty good. Just congratulations, Benjamin. Enjoy your week heading into Watkins next week. I wish you the best of luck at the always fun but always chaotic road courses, and just have a great rest of your week. Savor it, and we'll see you in the round of 8.
Thank you very much.
There you go. Your first broadcast of the night complete with Mr. Benjamin Lacey, your race winner at Dover. What a race. What a win. That was well earned. Again, I think if he had just won on strategy, kind of coasted to the end, capitalized on cautions, that's one thing. Though still impressive. A win's a win. But to hold off Brett there, to prove he had the pace, that is the mark of a really, really great driver. And, well, Benjamin Lacey is certainly that. So congratulations to him, your first interviewee of the night. But now we head off to your second interview of the night with second place finisher, Mr. Brett Guzik, who started just behind him and ninth at the beginning of tonight's race. We're going to just wait a quick moment here, and we will pull him into the broadcast booth. Okay. Where is Mr. Brett Guzik? Let's get him down here. And not race winner. There you go. The second place, the runner-up tonight here at Dover, Mr. Brett Guzik. Hey, Brett, it's Marshall up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I've got you there, Marshall.
Hey, Brett, how's it going? It is, well, I'm sure another pretty good night for you in regards to your playoffs overall. Another great podium, as you've had a number of them this season, and you really earned it tonight. I feel like, of anybody, you almost proved that maybe in that middle stage of the race, you actually had more pace than anybody overall. I didn't quite get a chance to check the fastest lap of the race, but you got to be up there. You were quick from start to finish. So just talk us through what about this Dover track was working for you. I think it was suiting your skills, and there at the end, just coming up just short of the win there. What do you think it would have taken to get that last little bit out of the car and maybe go for the win?
Yeah, through the middle stage there, I guess the end of the first long run when I started kind of gathering momentum there. I was really just trying to save tires a bit, just trying to protect my stuff and kind of pick a time to go there. Probably around lap 20 is what you'll see is when I start actually moving up. And I just try to pick them off one at a time, take a little break, pick them off, take a little break, pick them off, I guess. And then it kind of curtailed that into the stop, and somehow I got a good stop on that first stop. And then we had that caution, and I found myself pulling down pit road, and I thought everything was good, and then I came up on the apron a little bit too early and actually went to the back. So that's kind of what put me back there in the at the end of the field. But luckily we got a caution there. Unfortunately, I didn't pick a fast repair on the last stop. I actually had, I think, 13 seconds of damage, so it kind of hindered me a little bit from unlocking the full potential of the thing, I guess. But we salvaged a good night at least.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think if you'd had a fully fresh truck, I think you had more than a shot there at the win. I think it would have been a fun little scrap there in the last couple laps. But from start to finish, it's a really great drive from you, especially to come back through the field there after those struggles early. And you're picking up points here in the playoffs. Another good night for you. Just going to pull up again the playoff bracket for myself and just double check your points heading in. But yeah, you were already well comfortable. 41 points total. Only 4 back at Cody for the most in that first race. You were, 10 points above the cutoff. So you're fairly comfortable, even more comfortable now. And at any point tonight, did the playoffs overall factor into how you approach the race? Thinking you needed to pick up points rather than the win, or were you just treating this like any other race?
I was thinking about it a little bit. I think going into this one, I had maybe 10 above the cut. As long as I didn't do anything silly in the beginning of the race, I felt like I could we can maintain that. So that's kind of was my game plan there on the first run. Just try and settle in, not get bumped by anybody or anything silly happen, and just when the time's there, start moving.
And it did come up, and you were making your passes when you needed to. It was a really commanding, kind of a more aggressive drive than we've seen from you in a while. You were just picking the passes off tonight and definitely getting the work done. And I think this is the first time we've talked to you, I think, in the playoffs so far. You weren't on the podium last week in New Hampshire, though. You again had a great points night. So, overall, generally speaking, how are you changing your approach from maybe the regular season, from last season in the playoffs? What version of Brett Guzek are we going to be seeing in these playoffs overall? And if you can continue this points, comfort cushion that you have into the round of 8, what Brett Guzek should we expect in the round of 8 and then the championship 4?
Well, I feel like I just have to emulate Nick Nickerson of last year and just, pick my battles and, end up winning every race. But, that's kind of what has to happen is I just got to pick my spots. And, if I do the right things on pit road, and I'll probably end up in the top 5 there at the end. And hopefully that'll put me in position to go, battle with those guys.
Well, you're certainly up there for me. I'm forgetting my own playoff bracket, but yeah, you were in my final 4 there in my playoff bracket. I got faith in you, Brett. I think you're going to give it a good shot, and well, you can continue the good pace next week at Watkins. I know the road courses are something you've been actually really great at in the past. I know you put in your time and you get prepped and you're always up there. So I have the feeling you're going to keep racking up points next week if you can stay out of trouble. And you're somebody that I think more so perhaps than anybody here who doesn't have a win yet, like Nick or Benjamin, is a pretty safe bet for the round of 8, but I don't mean to jinx you. So we'll end the interview as we always do. Now's your opportunity. If you have any shout outs you want to give to somebody, any sponsors you want to talk about, now is your time.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank everybody watching. I'd like to thank my family. My brother just had a kid yesterday, so that's Weston Reed Guzik. So, new member of the family, so that's pretty cool. Just thank everybody for watching.
Well, hey, you made him proud tonight, Brett. That was a great drive. Came just short and perhaps 13 seconds of damage away, but I wouldn't lose too much sleep over it. It was a great drive, and hey, Weston Reed, maybe a future, next generation Guzik to join the series, maybe a future champion. I know we've got a couple of young drivers there making their way through the ranks, so we'll see about that. But yeah, awesome job tonight, Brett. Best of luck next week for Watkins Glen, and try to give Nick a run for his money for us, will you?
Oh well, I will.
Awesome.
Don't worry.
Perfect. Thank you, Brett. Have a great week.
Thanks.
There we go. Brett Guzek, your second interviewee of the night, and another great drive for him. Again, actually, that 13 seconds of damage factor, really interesting. I think without it, potentially would have definitely had a shot, actually, with how much ground he was making up those first couple laps. Definitely had the time. And yeah, definitely, like 13 seconds doesn't sound like much on iRacing, but I assure you that, that builds up over the course of the race. So yeah, that's tough. It's one of those ones I know I would probably lose a little bit of sleep over, so I tried to kind of cool his mind about that one there, but just a great drive for him. And now we get to your last interview of the night, somebody that pops up in the podiums every once in a while, and somebody we talk to periodically, and such a great driver at these shorter tracks, Benny Hogan. Let's pull him in the broadcast booth. Another really fun guy to talk to tonight. Hey, Benny, it's Marshall up at the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yeah.
Hey, Benny, how's it going? Congratulations, man. 3rd place tonight here at Dover, and another great performance from you. 3rd place in qualifying translated to a 3rd place in the race, and the Monster Mile is not an easy track. Is it safe to say here, based on what we've seen in the past, with you being pretty quick at these shorter tracks and your performance tonight at Dover, is it pretty safe to say the shorter to the track, the higher the 88's going to finish?
I hope that's right. We've got a couple, at least one short track left. But yeah, I like the tight turns and the high banks. That makes it a lot more fun.
So kind of talk us through the later portions of this race, because early on we got a great green flag stint there from I think lap 7 onwards to about lap 70. So we were chugging along there. You had some time. I think we saw early there one of your stints there on tires, you were starting to kind of lose them by the end. So it looked like maybe it was going to be a struggle tonight. But once we got to the end there, you had some shorter stints and you could just let your speed shine tonight that we saw in qualifying. That seemed to play in your abilities. So what do you think it was about the tire wear that was kind of tough there early, and how did you evolve over the course of the race to come home and finish 3rd?
So the first stint, I really went way too hard to begin with, and I should have let a bunch of guys go, and I learned real quick from that. And so when I came out after a set of new tires, I moved my line up a little bit, and I started easing in on my entry and just tried to save tires from that point on.
And, thinking about some of the challenges of the race overall, I mean, in addition to tire wear that we had heard with the concrete surface was going to be a trouble, but I mean, between lap traffic, guys having trouble on pit road. You know, was there anything tonight that was giving you particular troubles? We just asked a moment ago to a couple of guys, including Benjamin, who won tonight, and it sounded like it was a tough, pretty high-speed track overall. But what was specifically, I think, the toughest thing you had to overcome?
I think the toughest thing, for the most part, I will say the lap guys, the ones that were slower, they did give room, but there were a few instances where guys would run in the middle of the track and not move, and you had caught them in like a lap, and they just would not move, and so you had to be careful because I was trying not to bump anybody. I was always around green spoilers, and so I was just trying to be really clean, and so that took me a little bit longer to get around some people, but at the end of the day, it saved my truck and it saved my finish.
And, you know, overall, from start to finish, tonight was just, it wasn't an easy race for anybody. I think whether you were a lap car or you were somebody up front, I mean, Benjamin certainly didn't have an easy night of it. Brett, who was quick, didn't. I know you certainly didn't. So tonight's one of those ones that I feel like is probably one of the more deserved podiums anybody's going to have all season. So I'm very congratulatory of you. But I really feel bad because that 88 truck, Benny, it's always up front. Whenever you've been here, it's always been quick. And I think had you come out to maybe 1-2 more races, I think you were almost a lock for the playoffs. So, you know, what as a non-playoff driver looking in do you hope to prove? I mean, Ashley Molyneux's in a similar spot. Christopher Hamilton had a great run tonight outside of the playoffs. So, you know, coming into the series, do you treat anybody around you any different knowing you're not battling them for a championship? Or are you just here to win every week?
I mean, I'm here to win if I can, but I definitely, if they got a green spoiler, I definitely treat them completely different than any other driver. The last thing I want to do is be involved in something that messes up a playoff driver. That being said, when it comes down to the last lap, if I need to put the bumper, then I will. You know, I'm trying to get a win. These guys are in the playoffs. When it's down to the last lap, it's all bets are off. If it's for a win, nothing else.
Yeah, I totally respect that. I think that's the exact perfect mindset. So yeah, I appreciate a driver that respects the playoff guys and thinks about the big picture for them. But yeah, if you were in a spot tonight like Brett was, you got right up to the back of the guy in front of you. I expect you to go for the win, Benny, because you've come close a number of times. I think this is the 4th or 5th podium you've had since I joined the series. So you're a guy I talk to periodically, and you're always such a great driver to watch, especially in qualifying. You've proved in the past you have the top end pace. So I wish you the best of luck for the rest of the season. Hopefully we'll talk to you again soon. And yeah, I think Myrtle Beach is the short track coming up soon. So maybe that'll be your chance. But as we always do in the broadcast booth for the last one of the night, do you have any shout outs you want to give to people at home? Any sponsors you want to talk about? Whatever you'd like, it's your time.
No, I'll just, like I always do, thank my wife and my kids. They let me come home and after a hard day's work, and believe it or not, this is my relaxed time. And tonight I had a ball and it was really fun. I want to thank you guys for putting it on, for announcing it, for Bill. I especially want to thank Nick this week. He was a lot of help in the practice sessions we had, and so he is the person I need to thank this week for some help. And other than that, you know, they knew I was here, and they're going to know I'm here every week.
They certainly did. Congratulations, Benny. Great race from you tonight. And you beat Nick, the guy who was teaching everybody there in practice. You had his number all night, so clearly it paid off well. And yeah, shout out to him. Go enjoy the night with your family. Go tell them all about how it went, and unless they're watching the broadcast. But congratulations, Benny. We'll see you, I'm sure, in the next couple weeks. And have a great rest of your season, man.
All right. Thank you, Marshall.
Thank you. And there you go. Benny Hogan finishing in 3rd tonight in the 88 truck. Another one of his great performances. We are not foreign to seeing in this series. Certainly not. He's always been a quick driver. And like I said, somebody that I've really known since the start of my time in the series. He's somebody I think about quite often as a threat for potentially the podium. But tonight could have very well been his night to pick up a win had it gone slightly differently. So what a race tonight in the Mission for Nutrition 100 here at Dover. Again, we'll talk about them in just a moment. But first, we got to get to your final results, just so you know where your loved ones finished. If you didn't see them tick by on the ticker, your family, friends, whoever it may be, anybody you watch for, let's see where they are. So your race winner tonight, 2nd of the season, 1st of the playoffs, Benjamin Lacey is your winner here tonight at Dover International Speedway. Finishing in 2nd, coming close, but not quite. Brett Guzek comes home in 2nd, picks up a huge chunk of playoff points. Benny Hogan in 3rd, a non-playoff driver, but a great run from start to finish. Same with Cody Welch, came close to the podium, battled back late as he always does. Christopher Hamilton sitting there in 5th has always been quick in this series. Another guy that would be in the playoffs if he had a couple more races under his belt. Good job to him from start to finish. After that, Tony Hilbrands, who is a playoff driver, it just doesn't show up. I actually don't know why. His name is not that much longer. It's not longer than Christopher Hamilton's. I don't know why it's not there, but he's a playoff driver too, and he picks up some valuable points for Hilbrands Motorsports. Christopher Ferrara there in 7th will come home. Another playoff driver that doesn't show up, and yeah, he certainly needed that after week 1. Great recovery from start to finish. Awesome drive. Holds off Ashley Mono there late, who finishes in 8th. Peter Murphy comes home in 9th. Kevin Foster in 10th. Sean Britt in the 11th spot. Cale Zook in 12th. Remember how good he was early. Unfortunately, just did not have the luck that he needed tonight. Following that was Curtis Yancey, who got involved in a wreck late. Nick Nickerson, who just got a shout out a moment ago. Unfortunately, he did not also have the night he was looking for, but he's already into the round of 8, so not that it matters much for him. Ricky Hart caught in 2 major wrecks after being so good early. He knew he was going to be excited for Dover. So was Brandon Jackson. Neither guy had the night they wanted. But Ricky Hart, you got to think he's going to come out next week at Watkins, do whatever he can. And I think he's certainly a threat for the final round of the final race of the round at Pocono. After him, Victor Weaver in 17th, Bill Harkins in 18th, Gary Moore Jr. in 19th. Mark Allen Bivens will round off your top 20. After that, we got Daniel Stein here, tonight's race sponsor there. And again, shout out to him, shout out to Mission for Nutrition. Thank you for stopping by, Daniel, earlier to tell us a little bit about tonight's awesome sponsor. We got, Michael Ramos 22nd, Connor Sawyer in 23rd, Matt Crockett comes home in 24th, Steve Ulrich in 25th. Scroll down a little ways for you. Then it's Trey Ellis, a playoff driver, coming home in 26th, Nolan Gross in 27th, Gary Wright in 28th, Connor Zook, one of the 3 Zooks, in 29th. Hunter Henry, a playoff driver there in 30th, caught out in a wreck early and just was unable to recover. He's going to have to come back a little bit next week at Watkins, but he's been good at the road courses in the past. John Graham comes home in 31st. Jackson Knock finishes 32nd. Another Zook, the 07 of Andrew Zook in 33rd. Playoff driver Jason Greenwell finishes in 34th. He's going to have to recover next week, but he was pretty good coming in on points. Mason Flagar in 35th. Anthony Caetano in 36th. Eddie Haggy in 37th. Brandon Jackson in 38th. Got involved in a wreck real early. Did not continue. He was excited for Dover. Real shame to see it end like that. And now he's going to be in a bit of a points hole heading into next week. Jason Romy, the fellow Canadian, the only other Canadian in the grid tonight, comes home in 39th. And I don't know what this has been, but there's a driver on my screen just called Message Sent 1031. So that's Message. Congratulations to the 560 truck. Don't know what was going on there, but he is your final finisher in tonight's race. So that's your grid. There you go. Let's just one more time. We'll see me alongside what is now digital Evan here. But yeah, thank you everybody so much for watching. As always, it was a pleasure to call tonight, and it was great to have Evan back alongside me. Hopefully, we got him next week for the road course at Watkins. It's a road course. You guys know I love the road courses, so looking forward to being back there. But yeah, besides that, one more time, let's just give a thank you to Mission for Nutrition. You see them up there. It's always inverted on the camera. So Mission for Nutrition, again, such a great thing that they do for the area of Pennsylvania. I love food banks that are more than just that. Of course, I love any food bank, anybody willing to go out of their way to donate and really give somebody one of the most fundamental things in life. I'd argue, aside from maybe water, one of the most important necessities in anybody's life. So it's a great thing that they do. And again, it's more than just donating money. I mean, we've talked about a number of causes this season that are looking for donations, and as always, feel free to donate to Mission for Nutrition. I'm sure that would be money very well spent. And again, link in the description if you want to do that. But even just volunteering, if you live in the Pennsylvania area, if you happen to, always an opportunity there. If you want to volunteer, if you want to get involved, like Daniel Stein said he does, that's the way to do it. So go down to the link below, get all their information. It's a link to every one of their social medias as well as their website that I showed earlier. Go check them out. Thank you for sponsoring tonight. Thank you to Daniel Stein for being tonight's race sponsor again. And here we go, heading into Watkins next week, back to the road courses. Benjamin Lacey's in the round of 8, and we will see what happens next week. But for both myself, Evan Wall, on behalf of the entire Bandit Racing League, on behalf of Bill Harkins, the series founder and series coordinator, on behalf of Christopher Ferrara, who does all of our great social media stuff, go check it out on Instagram, Bandit Racing League. Go find it on Instagram. He put some great stuff there, some recaps, some stuff from all throughout the season, doing some great work. And again, shout out to Bandit Merch on behalf of Bill Harkins and everybody. We got those roster t-shirts. Check them out in the link below. And that'll about round it off. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. We will see you guys next week at Watkins Glen. And for the time being, as always, as Evan would say, and he won't be able to say it tonight, but absolutely here. We will see you guys next week at Watkins Glen. There is your schedule. Have a good night, everybody.